Welcome back to Get to Know the Gatemen on the Gatemen Baseball Network, your studio show for all things Gatemen baseball. I'm your host, Amanda Foster. Today, as usual, we'll recap the most recent stretch of games for the Gatemen and catch you up on everything you need to know about the roster. As of the morning of July 6th, the Gatemen are on a 5-game losing streak, with their last win coming June 28th against Yarmouth Dennis. Since then, Wareham has been desperately trying to right the ship. Big wins over Chatham, Cotuit, and Brewster at the end of June have since been overshadowed, and manager Ryan Smythe is trying his best to get his guys back on track. The Gatemen lead the league in errors with 29, and are second in the league in earned runs with 98, and a team ERA with 4.96. They haven't won a road game since opening night and are fourth in the West Division with a record of 8, 11, and 2. Cotuit is far and away the leader in the division at 15 and 6, and Falmouth is the only team below the Gatemen at 7, 12, and 2. So far this season, the Gatemen are 3, 7, and 1 against division opponents. Wareham's most recent loss came at the hands of the Bourne Braves, who walked it off on a hit by pitch on July 5th. Here's what Ryan Smythe had to say after that game. I'm joined by Ryan Smythe, and Coach, it was a close game until the very end. What are your biggest takeaways from the game tonight?
We didn't execute tonight. We had some opportunities to put some runs up, put some guys in positions to make it a little bit easier for our hitters, and we just didn't do that tonight.
And you kept it close, final score of 5-4, which compared to some of the games that you've played in the past, maybe a little closer. What does it say about the team to keep it 4-4 until the ninth inning?
I mean, listen, we just got walked off twice in a row, so it's kind of one part of it is you're getting closer to getting off of this skid. The other part of it's tough, but our guys are fighting. We're right in games, and that's all you can ask for right now.
You play Bourne at home tomorrow. What's the message going into that game?
I don't think I need to send a message. These guys know, what it's like day to day. They know we need to get off of this skid soon. So I think they'll be ready to play.
Thank you, Coach. Appreciate it. However, just because the Gatemen are in a slump doesn't mean there aren't players to highlight. Catcher Yadi Hernandez, who is currently in the transfer portal out of Seton Hall, has been a bona fide wall behind the plate. His quick reflexes have saved his team on many occasions, whether he's blocking off-target pitches or gunning down runners on the bases. Here's a look into the catcher's approach to the game. And as a catcher for you, I'm curious, when you go up to the plate batting, how does that experience help you?
Oh my God, if it does. Honestly, that's something I've been trying to think about. Like, does it really help me or not? I mean, it helps me not think as much. And because I literally, once I go to defense, it's like a whole different ball game than offense. So I try to think less. But I really haven't thought about that. That's a good question.
Okay. You'll keep that in mind for next time.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And then you're a big mentality guy. We've talked about that. Is there a specific phrase or something that you like to repeat yourself either before the game or when you're playing the game?
Yeah, of course. I have 3 of them. It's simple, present, and compete. If I do those 3 things and control what I can, everything else is I can't control, and that's my base. That's what I got to do. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Since arriving on the Cape, Grant Hussey has quickly made a name for himself. The Gentle Giant is second in the league in RBIs with 16 and in doubles with 5. He has 2 massive home runs to his name, is batting .263, and can hold down the fort at first base with the best of them. Up there with the best of him also sits David Glancy, who hit a few milestones in the league before making his departure. In his final game against Bourne on July 5th, Glancy became the first player in the league to score 20 runs and earn 20 walks. He'll leave the Gatemen as the current leader in stolen bases as well, with 13 to his name. Here's what Glancy's had to say after his final game in a Gatemen jersey. I'm here with David Glancy, and David, tonight was your last night playing for the Gatemen. What are the biggest things you've been able to take away from this experience?
I just had a lot of fun, honestly. I kind of found the way that I'm most comfortable playing baseball, and coaches have helped me with that and helped me feel comfortable and let me play my game. So, I'd say the biggest takeaway is just to be myself wherever I go, and wherever the future holds for me, just continue to try to be myself and play the game how I like to play.
What does it mean for you to come out and play here for Wareham in the Cape Cod League this summer?
Oh, it was unbelievable. I mean, I'm obviously so thankful and blessed for the opportunity. So, just gonna soak it all in and one last time and enjoy it with the guys. So that's really it.
And what's your message to the rest of the team as you leaving, if there is any sort of parting words that you want to give them?
They'll turn around. I know we had a couple, rough skid and a couple losses in a row, but it's a really talented group. So just to keep their heads up, and we'll turn it around soon. It won't be the end of the world, and we'll flip it around and win 5 in a row. So
Great, thank you. Congratulations.
thank you so much.
With that, let's get into the most recent arrivals and departures for the Gatemen. As mentioned before, David Glancy played his final game with the Gatemen on July 5th. Other players who left include outfielder Zach Stewart, catcher Ryan Campos, and pitchers Coleman Picard, Mark Manfredi, Danny Frontera, and Lucas Malstead. Arrivals include outfielder Lawson Harrell, catcher Renee Lastris, and pitchers Gavin Black and Brett Wozniak. Looking at the next few opponents for the Gatemen, things don't get any easier, as expected. They kick off with back-to-back home games against Bourne and Brewster before heading to face Yarmouth Dennis on July 8th. Then it'll be at home against Hyannis, away against Chatham, and home against Falmouth to take us into what is currently the next off day on July 12th. But right now, all we can do is wait and see what each game brings. With that, we'll wrap up today's show. For our producers and crew behind me, I'm Amanda Foster, and thanks for tuning in.
Strike 3, you're out. The Wareham Gatemen are kings of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
We're back here at Spillane for some Sunday night baseball. Amanda Foster alongside Jack Hunter here on the leadoff spot. The Gatemen coming back after a 12-5 loss to Yarmouth Dennis last night in a shortened game due to fog, looking to come back and get a win against Hyannis, who's they're 0-2-1 so far, looking to rebound after losing to Hyannis and ending in a tie in fog back in Hyannis the last time they faced off. Now, Aiden Major starting on the bump tonight, and Jack, last night in the game, pitching was a bit of an issue for the Gatemen as it has been. What do you expect to see from Aiden today?
Well, I'm hoping he gets back to what he did in his first start against Cotuit. His last start versus Orleans was riddled with a little inconsistency and a little bad luck, if we're being honest. Andy Blake hit a home run in the first inning at Orleans that traveled just 312 feet. But Aiden was only able to get through 3 innings, so they need some more length from him tonight. And I said it yesterday, I feel like I'm sounding like a broken clock now. The biggest obstacle for this team right now is starting pitching, and really in more depth from that, throwing strikes. And it's no secret, but Aiden Major needs to get through at least 4 innings today. He needs to keep the walks down, because the game is just so much harder when you walk guys, because bloop singles turn from just, one runner on base. When you start walking guys, a bloop single can turn into 2 or 3 runs getting scored back to back to back.
Well, and Aiden will be caught by Yadi Hernandez tonight, who just recently committed to Mizzou. Aiden Blanc had a chance to catch up with him about what went into that decision.
Back on the leadoff spot as we roll along before a Sunday night battle between Wareham and Hyannis. And it's great to be joined by the newest Missouri Tiger, Yadi Hernandez. First of all, Yadi, congratulations. I'm sure this has got to be a pretty happy moment for you, continuing your academic and athletic career at one of the best schools for college baseball and for academics in the country.
Oh, no, it's a blessing. It's just a dream come true. And work hard and anything is possible, honestly. So just hard work, a lot of hard work, and I'm here for a reason.
What was behind that decision to go to Missouri? I'm sure it had to be a very big choice for you in your career.
Well, number one, SEC, great team. The new coach is awesome, great connection I built with him for a little bit that we talked about for like a week and a half. And then the other part is just they wanted me. That's that simple. If they wanted me the most, and then that's where I went. I got to go where they want it.
Expectations for the rest of the summer now that you've been able to make this big decision and have that in your rearview mirror, you know where you're going to be in the fall?
Honestly, just learn, adjust, get better. So whatever it takes to just be ready for next season, honestly. Everything, every day counts, everything matters. So just being ready to compete next year, honestly. So
that's Yadi Hernandez. Yadi, congratulations, and best of luck the rest of the summer.
Thank you.
Competitive pay, state-of-the-art facilities, and opportunities in service, sales, accounting, HR, marketing, IT, and more. A job at Milton Cat, the Northeast Caterpillar dealer, is more than a career choice, it's a choice career. Visit miltoncat.com/careers to join their growing team.
Summer, our players are able to track and monitor their development thanks to our title sponsor of the 100-year anniversary, Baseball Cloud, whose data tells the whole story. Baseball Cloud gives fans like you the opportunity to access each player's stats and historical data. Baseball Cloud technology is ushering the next 100 years of the Cape Cod Baseball League, inspiring and exciting the next generation of players and fans. Learn more at baseballcloud.com.
Back with J.C. Cologne out of the University of Missouri. J.C., first of all, Yadi Hernandez just announced he's going to join you in the fall. What has your relationship been like with Yadi, and are you excited to see him in the fall at Mizzou?
No, for sure. I'm really excited for him to come to Mizzou because, first of all, we needed a catcher, and for him to come with us. I played with him last year, so we got closer with time and stuff. And I'm just glad he's coming with me so we can just be bond and become a family and have a great group of guys to go to Omaha this year.
You were just telling me about your round of BP, trying to hold the hands a little bit lower. What has gone into the anatomy of your swing this season? What changes have you tried to make?
Just keep it simple, just see the ball, hit the ball, not do too much with my hands, and just drive the ball whenever I can to help the team win.
It's your first summer on the Cape. What's the experience been like coming from Missouri?
It's been nice, I'm different than Missouri for sure, but I just want to build connections and just get better at what I do. And hopefully, next year, I can do something good and, go to a draft or not just have another year.
Anything specific you picked up so far or hope to pick up that you can bring back to college and fall ball?
No, just, build connections, because we only played the game for so long. And I'm just glad to be with, this great group of guys, and I know we're going to be good at the end of this, summer.
That's J.C. Cologne here on the leadoff spot.
Big night in the East Division tonight with Wareham and Hyannis. Wareham with a win would jump above Hyannis to be in third place. With a loss and a Falmouth win, they would drop down to be tied for the bottom spot in the division. And Jack, not as much competition in the East tonight.
Yeah, well, Chatham has had 3 straight games postponed. They have not played since Monday. Wareham is supposed to go to Chatham tomorrow. We'll see how that works out. But they're in the basement in the East Division. And after a YD win yesterday over the Gatemen and a Harwich loss, YD is now up 5 points in the East Division, and also Orleans and Brewster continue to just kind of meddle in the middle of the division. They both lost 2 straight.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be a long-standing supporter of the Cape Cod Baseball League and its contribution to the local economy as a treasured summer attraction. Cape Cod 5 is a community bank serving customers throughout Cape Cod, the islands, and southeastern Massachusetts. Founded in 1855, the bank's mission is to enrich the lives of those it serves while contributing to the health and vitality of its communities. Cape Cod 5 provides a full range of banking solutions, including personal and business banking, residential mortgages, investment management, and trust services.
The Gatemen are proud to partner with Franklin Sports as the official batting gloves of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves courtesy of Franklin. From the Cape League to the big leagues, it's all hands on deck. Back on the manager show with Ryan Smythe, and Coach, a little bit of a tough game to come off of last night, shortened due to fog and some longer innings, especially for your pitchers. Is there a specific message today beyond just the fact that it's a new day and a new game of baseball?
Throw strikes.
Anything else than that?
Throw strikes.
All right, there we go, and that leads right into my question about Aiden Major. What does he have to do to go more than 3 innings today besides throw strikes?
I mean, he's been working really hard. He threw strikes last time. He lost a little control or a little feel of his off-speed pitch, which made it hard. And he even, we were going to throw him out for another inning, and he said, Coach, I'm good to go, but I don't have any feel for my curveball right now. And, he kind of took it as team first, whereas he wanted the other inning, but he knew it was better for us to put somebody in. So a guy like that, man, you're rooting for.
And Yadi Hernandez just recently committing to Mizzou. I'm curious, were you involved in that process at all with when he entered the portal and then having him get recruited again?
No, I had nothing to do with that. He got into the portal, and I had no idea until he told me. And then after he was in the portal, I got a couple calls about him, just asking how he was as a catcher. And he's outlasted a lot of catchers out here, and I had all positive things to talk about him.
What have you seen from him that stood out to you so far this season?
I mean, from a catching standpoint, he's very active. He's vocal. We've been calling pitches now the last 2 or 3 games, and we're right on the same page. So he's like-minded. The actions are great. He's everything you want in a catcher. He's been throwing runners out left and right. So he's controlling the running game even when our pitchers don't. So he's, you want a leader back there, and he's a prime example of it.
Great, thank you. Appreciate your time, Coach.
Tom and Gene Yawkey were passionate about baseball. Over 7 decades as owners of the Boston Red Sox, the Yawkeys greatly invested in youth and amateur athletics. They recognize the important skills baseball can bring to players both on and off the field. The Yawkey Foundation has been proud to support the Cape Cod Baseball League for more than 25 years.
As a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, the Mass State Lottery is celebrating the games we love playing. From the baseball diamond to the many lottery games that help support all 351 cities and towns across the Commonwealth. So here's to 100 years of Cape Cod baseball and 100 more. Welcome into some Sunday night baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Back here at Spillane Field in Wareham, I'm Amanda Foster alongside Jack Hunter with you tonight. It's the Gatemen versus the Harbor Hawks here in Spillane in a tight West Division matchup. The Harbor Hawks standing at 11-11-1, 1 point above Wareham in the division. Wareham 10-12-2 after a 12-5 loss to YD last night, and Jack, pitching was kind of the name of the game for Wareham last night, and also the name of the game coming in today. I was talking to him before the game. He said the biggest thing the team has to do is just throw strikes, and we're seeing Aiden Major on the mound tonight start for the Gatemen, and Smythe has a lot of confidence in Aiden Major's stuff.
Yeah, well, Riley Eichhoff's been the go-to guy, and if you want to look to a guy behind him in that starting rotation, guy number 2 would probably be Aiden Major, who I alluded to in the pregame had a bit of a complicated start versus Orleans. Did not pitch great, but also his final line may have looked a little bit worse than it should have. You know, kind of a bad luck homer. Struggled a little bit with control, got nailed with a ball that, you know, with the catcher threw right back at him, throwing down, which probably is not going to feel good. So I'm looking for him to get further along in the game today. If they can get through 4 or 5 innings and you know, give this bullpen a chance to complete the game. I think that's what this Wareham team has got to be looking for today, first and foremost.
That's another thing that some of it's just been bad luck for the Gatemen, whether it's bad hops in the infield or bad throws kind of bouncing off the pitcher. You never really know. And Major Smythe said in the beginning in pregame that coming out, he was originally planning to go into the 4th inning. The team was planning to have him go, and then he went up and told Smythe he didn't really have a feel for his curveball, kind of choosing to take a step back and take one for the team instead of going back out. So we very well could see him go further than 3 innings. He went 4.2 in his first outing against Katuitt. So we'll see what happens with that, but you're absolutely right about Aiden Major. We'll give you a quick runaround of how the Gatemen are situated on the field now. Major on the bump, Yadi Hernandez catching him behind the plate, Bobby Bozer at third base, Sebastian Murillo at shortstop, Dorian Gonzalez at second, and Grant Hussey at first. Outfield, right to left, we've got Nick McLean, Josh Stevenson, and Lawson Harrell. So not too much of a change in this lineup, in this fielding situation for the Gatemen that we've seen in the past few games, really, because they've had relatively good success with the guys that they have on the field right now.
Yeah, for sure, defensively and also in the lineup as well. And the Gatemen lineup will introduce you to that in the bottom of the first, but part of the reason these guys are playing in similar positions is because they've been good hitting the baseball. So don't fix what's not broken, and Ryan Smythe's sticking to that.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the Gatemen lineup. We'll get that in a little bit later in the game, but run you through the Harbor Hawk lineup now. Leading off, number 8, Nick Mitchell. Number 14 coming in second, John Gazdar. Cam Smith, number 13 in the 3 spot. Zachary York cleaning up he's number 40. Alex Lane, number 41. Number 9, Elijah Hainline. Followed up by Brody Donay in the 7 spot. Will Taylor, number 35 in the 8 spot, and Trey Lipsy, number 2, rounding things out. So a very well-rounded lineup the Harbor Hawks have coming into today as well.
Yeah, and this is a different Harbor Hawks lineup. So this is the 4th time the Gatemen have played Hyannis this year. And fun fact, Hyannis is the only team in the league that Wareham has not defeated yet this year. But for Wareham, looking at this Hyannis lineup, there's not really a lot of familiar faces. I mean, we've seen different guys in the first game, second game, third game. Hyannis has been plagued a lot by what's been a league-wide trend where guys are just kind of departing early, coming and going, and so they're still trying to figure things out with a lot of newer players.
And that leads us right into getting set for the start of the game here. Nick Mitchell, the lefty, coming up to the plate and getting set to go. Mitchell just announced his transfer to go to Indiana. He grew up in Carmel, went to Carmel High School, so he's pretty close. First pitch comes in for a strike from Major. And Mitchell, in fact, played for the Yadi Red Sox from June 10th to the 25th. On the 25th, he was released, and on that same day, he was signed and activated by Hyannis. Fouls that one back for strike number 2. Mitchell, batting lefty, throws righty. Stands at 5'9". The pitch from Major comes in for a called strike 3 to get the first out and get the Gatemen rolling here in the top of the first. Aiden Major, coming out of West Virginia, stands at 6 foot on the mound. His last outing, as we mentioned, was July 2nd against Orleans, where he pitched 3 innings, gave up 3 earned runs. He'll face John Gazdar now. Gazdar cracks that one back foul behind the press box for strike number 1. He's batting .250 so far with Hyannis, 3 hits and 12 at-bats, and 1 triple so far on the season. He was activated July 4th, so getting his legs possibly a little bit as that pitch comes in high to even up the count at 1-1. Major gets a sign from Hernandez behind the plate. Fires in, swing and a miss for strike number 2. Major making quick work of the batter he's facing right now so far. And comes set for the 1-2, fires in, swing and a miss for strike number 3. And quick 2 outs on the board here in the top of the first inning.
Well, this is the start to this game so far that we need for Wareham, for Aiden Major. He's establishing the fastball early, going to the slider late. 2 batters, 2 punch outs, and strikeouts are nice, but really what the Gatemen need is just strikes, and Aiden Major has delivered that so far.
Strikeouts do come with strikes, so just like you said, it's a good thing to see, good for him to get his confidence early on as he fires the first pitch in for a strike on the outside part of the plate. And is good enough where they can back up their pitcher. He shouldn't be afraid to throw in the strike zone. Cracked out, ranging over is Stevenson into right center, and he makes the grab for an easy third out. 3 up, 3 down for Hyannis here in the top of the first. We'll head to the bottom for the Gatemen coming up to the plate in just a moment. back now in the top of the first here at Spillane Field. Gatemen coming up to the plate. We'll run you through the lineup real quick. We've got Nick McLean leading things off, followed up by Garen Caulfield. Grant Hussey in the 3 spot. Lawson Harrell cleaning things up. Sebastian Murillo in the 5 spot. Josh Stevenson in the 6. Bobby Bozer at 7th. Yadi Hernandez at 8th. And Dorian Gonzalez cleaning things up in the 9 spot. Going around the field for the Harbor Hawks now. We'll go start in the outfield, go left to right. Nick Mitchell, Will Taylor, and Trey Lipsy. Coming into the infield, Cam Smith at 3rd. Hainline at shortstop. John Gazdar at second base, and Zach York at first base. Zachary Volker on the mound, being caught by Brody Donay behind the dish.
And Zach Volker, the Iowa Hawkeye, once the Long Beach State Dirtbag and a San Joaquin Delta College, did not look up that mascot, so I cannot give that to you as well. So 3 stops for him. He was a Cape League All-Star for Hyannis last summer, looking to get back to his old ways here, appearing for the 3rd time this season for Hyannis, which is, as an organization, usually a very strong organization on the mound. But the 2 times he's pitched, both of them have been against the Cotuit Cavaliers. The first outing was a pretty solid one. He went 3 1/3, only gave up 1 run on 2 hits. The last one on Thursday, June 29th, and an 8-0 loss, surrendered 5 runs over 3 innings. So he's been a little bit of a break for him. Let's see if he can come back out on the mound looking sharp.
And you said Cape League All-Star last year. He had a 1.97 ERA in 11 games. Coming into today, he's got an 8.52 ERA in 6.1 innings pitched. He's got a tall task ahead of him with the start of this Gateman lineup as well. McLean and Caulfield especially, with some hot bats recently. And the first pitch from Volker comes in high for strike number 1. Pitch low and inside to even up the count at 1-1 to McLean. McLean coming in batting .308 with 20 hits to lead the team. Cracks that one out into right center. Ranging over is Trey Lipsy. He gets under it and makes the grab to retire Nick McLean for the first out of the bottom of the first inning.
It's a good start for Volker. He went with a change up there, low spin rate, good velocity on it for a pitch. He got McLean out in front of it. That's exactly what he was trying to do, and he got the first out.
Volker with a lot of movement on the mound before he comes set and gets ready. He'll take on Garen Caulfield now, the righty in the box, batting .350 on the season. First pitch comes in on the outer edge for ball number 1. Caulfield on a 6-game hitting streak now, extending that as of last night with 2 hits against YD. Volker fires in the 1-0 for a swinging strike to even up the count back at 1-1 now.
Yeah, and Garen told me before the game he's just been seeing the breaking ball really well, and he's been saying all year he's not trying to do too much, and it's showing. He's short to the ball, line drive hitter.
One looper in for strike number 2. Well, and most of Garen's hits have been doubles, singles. He's got 2 doubles to his name. Not a whole ton of power. Had his first home run a few nights ago, but other than that, just kind of those getting it done hits. Ball comes high and outside to even up the count at 2-2. Volker gets ready, gets a sign from Donay. Big step, big leg kick. Fires in low to load the count here at 3-2 to Garen Caulfield.
Volker will kind of throw the kitchen sink at you. He's got a fastball, a slider, a changeup, a curveball, and a cutter. Mostly likes working with the fastball, slider, and cutter, which we just saw there.
And the 3-2. Swing fouled up over to the right field side. Ranging over is Zach York. He's waving, and foul territory makes the grab with ease. All alone for out number 2. So a lot of flyouts and pop-ups for both teams to get this game started here in the first inning.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, that's 3 straight outs that have made via the fly ball, and it's a good sign for both of these pitchers, especially if that's what they're trying to do, that a lot of hitters are swinging under, just like Guerin, who hit a kind of lazy little pop-up.
Pretty humid in the air as well, kind of sticky. Some wind, mostly overcast sky here on Sunday night so far as Grant Hussey steps into the box. And the first pitch comes in, looking at it for strike number 1. Hussey standing at 6'3", out of West Virginia. He had a 5-game hit streak that ended last night against YD. He was unable to record a hit in that game. He's batting .276 on the season. And the pitch comes in from Volker on the outside edge for ball number 1.
And we've been talking about swinging under. Well, Grant Hussey's big adjustment he's been making this summer is trying to swing more level and trying to hit the ball more straight.
Pitch comes in to make it 2-1.
Yeah, he was missing a lot of balls under him, so he's popping a lot of things up, swinging under a lot of balls, so kind of getting the bat to the ball, changing the swing plane a little bit has been an adjustment for him.
He's got a lot of power in that bat. And he takes ball 3, so hitters count now for Hussey. Dangerous spot for him to be in. And the 3-1 to Hussey comes in. Swing for strike number 2. Count now to the 3-hole hitter for the Gatemen. He's tied for second on the team with 16 hits. Leads the team with 21 RBIs. And the 3-2 called strike 3. Hussey had already thrown his bat. But no luck, as he's retired. 3 up, 3 down now for both teams here as we close out the bottom of the first. We'll be back in just a moment with the top of the second on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Well, apologies, we're having some audio issues here tonight, but we've got Zach York up with a 2-2 count right now here in the top of the second for the Harbor Hawks. Aiden Major on the bump. York with a swing and a miss for strike number 3. And Major retires his 4th batter in a row.
The designated hitter, number 41, Alex Lane.
And this is exactly what Ryan Smythe has wanted from his pitchers, just to go directly at him. And Aiden Major, with all 3 of his pitches so far, has done exactly that.
Alex Lane now up at the plate. 6'5", DHing tonight. Takes the first pitch low for a ball. Lane batting .227 on the season, 10 hits, 5 doubles. All-region Northeast first team. He's out of Northeastern. The pitch from Major cracked out to center field. Running in on it is Stevenson. Oh, and it's comes off the glove of Gonzalez out there running, trying to grab it. Trying to run with his back to home plate. Trying to grab that, no luck.
Yeah, unlucky play there from the Gateman, because he broke his bat. If he didn't break his bat, that thing's probably in Stevenson's glove. And then for Dorian, I mean, it felt like he caught the ball, and then when he was kind of coming down with it, just couldn't hold on to it.
Elijah Hainline, now playing second base today, steps up. Swings and cracks the first pitch over. Murillo grabs it, flips over to Gonzalez, who fires over to first for Hussey to get the double play and retire the Harbor Hawks once again. Facing the minimum is Aiden Major. We'll be back on the Gatemen Baseball Network with the bottom of the second in just a moment. Lawson Harrell set to lead things off for the Gatemen here in the bottom of the second inning. Harrell activated on July 3rd for the Gatemen. He's played in every game since. Batting .267 so far with 4 hits and 15 at-bats. Volker still on the bump, trying to make quick work of the bottom of the second like he did the bottom of the first. Swing and a miss, big hack for Harrell for strike number 1. Harrell, the Big South Player of the Year out of Campbell University. And he takes another big hack for strike number 2. That ball coming in on the outside edge of the plate, snagged by Donay behind the dish for the Harbor Hawks. And the 0-2 on the outside part of the plate for ball number 1, coming in high and outside. Harrell led the Big South in RBI and slugging. Slugging 761. 1-2 comes in for ball number 2 to even things up here.
This is a big weekend for Lawson. He's obviously a draft eligible guy. He's going to be a grad student next year with that 1 year of eligibility. And it's expected maybe that his name could be called, so some decisions coming up this weekend as the MLB draft starts tonight.
We'll be keeping an eye on that for all current and former Gatemen to possibly have their names called as the 2-2 comes in high to load the count here, 3-2. And the 3-2 cracked over the shortstop Hayne line, picks it up. Gloves over to first base, snagged by York for out number 1. Quick and easy 6-3 put out.
Good pitch there from Volker, and that's been the way that pitchers have attacked Lawson Harrell. They've gotten him out, is going away with a lot of soft stuff. I mean, it's not expected, not necessarily a surprising thing as a guy that hits in the middle of the order. So a big thing that Lawson's been working on is trying to stay inside the ball, trying to see it deep and trying to stay behind the baseball, because those are a lot of the outs he's been making where he's really early and rolling over things to the left side.
Now Sebastian Murillo at the plate. Takes first pitch coming in for strike number 1. Murillo out of Georgia, tied for second on the team in hits with 16, batting .258. 16 hits, 1 double, 1 home run, 12 RBIs, and 9 walks so far this season. The 0-1 comes in. He thinks about it a little bit, but comes in outside to even up the count at 1-1. The sun shining through the clouds here now at Spillane Field. It's been kind of on and off cloudy all day. And the 1-1 comes in, cracked down the right field line. It's going to range over back towards the bleachers and bounce off of the roof and then back into the field of play. So York's got to go pick that up. Murillo stays alive with a 1-2 count. Volker shaking off some signs before he gets the one that he wants from Donay. And the 1-2 comes in low to even up the count at 2-2. Murillo standing at 5'11", 195 pounds. And the 2-2 swing and a miss for strike number 3. He'll be retired for the second out of the inning.
Center fielder number 16, Josh Stevenson.
That was a very, very solid, looked like slider there, and that had 0 inches of induced vertical break on it, which, you know, a lot of common fan may know what that means, but pretty much that ball had almost perfect side spin on it, which is really what you want in a slider.
Josh Stevenson now at the plate. The lefty takes a strike on the outside edge. Just recently announced his transfer to Ohio State. Batting .240 on the season. And he cracks one out to left center. Right center, pardon me, ranging in his Trey Lipsy, and he makes the grab on the run. For another 3 up, 3 down now for both teams. Quick work through the bottom of the second. We'll be right back on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore undergraduate programs, NCAA Division III athletics, and continuing education and graduate studies, including fifth-year master's programs at curry.edu.
We'd like to welcome our title sponsor of the 100-year anniversary, Baseball Cloud. This summer, Baseball Cloud's data and analytics tools are used across the league to enhance player development and your experience with live in-game and post-game data. Baseball Cloud is excited to inspire and excite the next generation of players and fans and bring the most accurate data and analytics to your organization. Learn more at baseballcloud.com. Top of the third now here at Spillane Field, making quick work. It's only 6:27. First pitch coming in somewhere around 6 o'clock. Jack, I don't have the exact time that we got started, but
it's a nice change. I had 6:02 on the clock, a little bit late today. We had a little bit more of a pregame ceremonies, but I mean, some of the recent games the Gatemen have been playing have been long games, and we've talked about plenty of why that has been. We almost played a 3-hour game yesterday, didn't even finish the 7th inning. 2 hours and 40 minutes. It seemed like a quick game on Friday, in which there were 17 runs scored. And then the game before versus Bourne here, the longest game of the year, regulation game, at 3 hours and 45 minutes. I think we are due for a nice quick game. I saw Bourne played a 2-hour and 2-minute game yesterday. I'm not saying I don't know if I want something that short, but just need a little more rhythm to the game.
Knock on wood on that one, but you're absolutely right. Brody Donay stepping in 6'5", and he looks taller than that to face Aiden Major. First pitch comes in, gets him swinging for strike number 1. Donay out of Virginia Tech, batting .241 on the season, 14 hits, 6 RBIs, 27 strikeouts in 58 at-bats. Then the 0-1 swing and a miss for strike number 2. Major making quick work and throwing lots of strikes, which is just what Ryan Smythe wanted.
And you can read in Donay's swings. I mean, he's swinging for the fences. Those first 2 sliders almost, pulled his front shoulder out of socket trying to swing for the fences.
That last pitch coming in at 85 miles an hour, and there's a swing and a miss for strike number 3, and he'll be sat down by Aiden Major. 4th strikeout of the night for Major already.
I think the mindset that Ryan Smythe wants his pitchers to take, and the mindset that Major's been taking, is having the freedom to fail out there on the mound, and that if they hit a solo home run, that's not going to kill you. Ryan Smythe said yesterday that he'd rather have his pitchers get hit all over the yard than walk a whole bunch of guys and then have a bloop single beat him. And Aiden Major is challenging these hitters right now, and it's showing.
First pitch into Will Taylor comes in for ball number 1. Taylor, an interesting guy. He's out of Clemson. He played football as a wide receiver and baseball for the Tigers, and that is a very solid sports school. Tough thing to do. Batting 188 up here with the Harbor Hawks. Swings, lines one down, diving over is Bozer. It gets past him, running over now. Harrell's going to grab it as Taylor rounds into second for the first hit of the evening for the Harbor Hawks.
Right fielder, number 2, Trey Lipsy.
Hit hard off the bat, 97. And Taylor is a guy that's stuck around here for a little bit, despite the fact that he's got all the excuses in the world not to be here, with the fact that he's got a football season coming up. But Taylor's given them some outfield versatility, despite the fact that his bat hasn't really been there for most of the 15 games he's played, but that is his second double of the year.
Trey Lipsy now at the plate in the 9 spot. First pitch, swing and a miss for strike 1. Lipsy out of Ohio State, so Josh Stevenson's got a teammate in him next year. Batting 190 with 8 hits and 6 walks so far with the Harbor Hawks, standing at 6-1 in the left-handed batter's box. 0-1 comes in, fouled back just to our left to make it a 1-2 count.
And Lipsy is one of the very few guys in this Hyannis lineup that has played in all 3 meetings that Wareham and Hyannis have had early on in the season. We talked about how new a lot of this lineup is. Lipsy's been a guy that's been here for Hyannis for a while now.
Major checking on Taylor. Then the 0-2 comes in just a bit low for ball number 1. And the 1-2. Fouled back once again, just to the right of home plate this time. Major, as you can see on your screen, 27 pitches now, sitting here in the third inning with 1 out. 1-2, lined out, running into Stevenson in center field, diving, and it gets past his glove. Taylor will stay on second, but Lipsy will reach first base. And the Harbor Hawks have 2 runners on with 1 out now in the top of the third.
Tough play for Stevenson to make because as an outfielder, you hear the crack of that bat, and Lipsy made a loud sound, but he got it off the end of the bat. So Stevenson was a little late jumping to that ball, but a good idea by him to dive for it because you don't want to dive for the ones that are coming real hard at you, that if you miss it, it's going to get real by you. But that ball was dying towards Stevenson, so the worst that could happen is what happened there. He drops the ball, and the runner, Taylor, still has to stay at second.
And kept it in front of him. Now we're back at the top of the order with Nick Mitchell, who struck out looking in his first at bat in the first inning. Mitchell batting .333 coming into the day today. And he lines one out to right center, and that one's going to drop in the gap. Stevenson chasing after it. Taylor will come around to score. Followed quickly behind him is Lipsy, and racing all the way around to third base, sliding in safely with no throw is Nick Mitchell to give the Harbor Hawks a 2-0 lead.
Well, Nick Mitchell had a triple last night for Hyannis, and the way it was described to me, he almost had an inside the park home run that had no errors to it, and you could see his speed there. And that's been the pitch for Major, that fastball that has gotten hit around when he has. He gave up a home run on that versus Orleans. He's got great velo. He's touched 96 so far. That one was 95, but everybody in this league can hit a fastball if they're expecting it and you put it over the plate, and that's exactly what Aiden did there.
And now he'll face John Gazdar, trying to make a bounce back and get out of the inning as quick as he can. First pitch comes in for strike one. Gazdar was playing with the Walnut Creek Crawdads in the California Collegiate League before being called up here on July 4th. Out of Walnut Creek, California. Lines one over, ranging over as Gonzalez picks it up, gloves it, and fires over to Hussey for out number 2, and that will bring in Nick Mitchell to extend the Harbor Hawks lead to 3 now.
It's a great piece of situational hitting from Gazdar. A big slider there from Major, ton of spin on it. Gazdar went the other way with it, hit it where it was pitched, and it was good enough to get the run in.
Brings up Cam Smith. He takes first pitch for ball. Smith out of FSU, hitting .286 coming into the game today. 24 hits, 3 home runs, 2 triples, and 5 doubles. And he lines one out. Stevenson will let it drop in front of him. And the base running continues for the Harbor Hawks. Cam Smith as standing at first base with a single.
Another fastball, middle. Cam Smith, who should be an all-star upcoming in the all-star game versus Harwich. It's a great story for him, a guy that struggled a little bit at the beginning of the year and has been playing lights out and providing much-needed consistency for Hyannis. And, guys like that, they don't miss fastballs.
Zach York now. Smith takes off running. Yadi Hernandez with the throw. Sebastian Murillo with the tag, and he's out for out number 3 to end the inning. So Aiden Major gives up 3 runs, but Yadi Hernandez connects with Sebastian Murillo to knock out that third out and leave a runner stranded for the Harbor Hawks. The Gatemen left to respond when we come back in the bottom of the third. Gatemen in a 3-0 hole coming into the bottom of the third after the Harbor Hawks put up a 3 spot in the top of the inning. Bobby Bozer will lead things off. Out of South Florida. He's been playing at shortstop the past few days, but taking up the role of the third baseman today for the Gatemen, the true utility player on the team. The only 3 positions he hasn't played is pitcher, catcher, and first baseman. Coming in with a .207 batting average. Swings and fouls the first pitch back onto the right field, right side bleachers, or perhaps just past them. Bozer, the active walks leader in the team and on the league with 18, as he takes that pitch in for strike number 2 on the outer part of the plate. Coming in at 81 miles an hour from Volker on the mound. He's up to 30 pitches now, just starting the bottom of the third. And Bozer takes that one down the plate looking, heads back for out number 1 in the bottom of the third.
Catcher, number 24, Yadi Hernandez.
That was a great pitch. There's going to be another slider there from Volker, and it just kind of caught Bozer freezing. He really wasn't looking for it.
I'll bring up Yadi Hernandez, who, when connecting with Murillo, made the last out of the top of the third inning. He'll watch the first pitch come in for a strike. Hernandez just today announcing his intent to transfer to Mizzou. Transfer from Seton Hall. And a big swing and a miss for strike 2.
And Volker's really pulled out all the tools. I mean, we talked about the sweeping slider that he used to get down Bozer, and he's doubled up on curveballs, so a pitch that he started to throw a little bit more here at Cape Cod.
So Hernandez with an 0-2 count. Lines it out to right field, running in and making the grab is Trey Lipsy for a quick 2 outs for the Gatemen, as has been the case in the last 2 innings as well.
17, Dorian Gonzalez from the University of Miami.
Dorian Gonzalez now stepping up to the plate. The lefty playing second base out of the University of Miami. Batting 196 coming into today. First pitch from Volker on the outer part of the plate for a called strike. And the 0-1 in just almost the exact same spot for strike 2. Coming in at 81 miles an hour was that pitch. Volker shaking off a few signs. 4 now. 5. He gets the one he wants. And it's a looper for ball number 1 on the outside part of the plate. The 1-2. Outside to even things up. 2s across the board now. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Gatemen trying to make this the first time that Volker faces more than the minimum today. Big leg kick for ball number 3, and Brody Donay gets up and takes a moment. Well, Gonzalez at 5'9", Donay decently above 6 feet. Seeing the two of them stand next to each other at the plate. A bit of a funny sight. So full count pitch now. Fouled back over the left field bleachers, left side bleachers. And Gonzalez stays alive.
Yeah, just wait till Donay goes out to the mound to have a conference with one of his pitchers. He's towered over multiple pitchers.
The 3-2, Gonzalez works a walk and heads down to first base, the first base runner for the Gatemen tonight.
Well, one of the secrets to what has been a successful offensive year for the Gatemen has been productivity out of the 9 spot. Garen Caulfield, the guy on deck, was really the guy that was sparking that. Now he's moved up to the 2 hole. Somebody down there has got to be able to effectively turn the lineup over to arguably your best hitter, Nick McLean.
McLean flying out to right field in his first at bat today. Lines one down the right field line, foul for strike number 1. McLean, one of the batters who seems to rebound pretty quickly after having some struggles at the plate. He's very determined to get hits and get on base, as you would imagine any of these guys are. The 0-1 comes in high. Donay fires back down. Gonzalez sliding in safe. No tag from York. Donay listed at 6'5", but sometimes when he stands up, you can't help but think he's a little bit taller than that. The 1-1 comes in for called strike number 2. Gonzalez advancing to second with a stolen base and no challenge from Donay.
Yeah, it looked like a delayed steal there, so the ball got across. Gonzalez was kind of answering off first, and the middle infield, Hainline and Gazdar, kind of didn't really recognize what Gonzalez was doing.
So a runner in scoring position now for Nick McLean. 1-2 swing and a miss. McLean gets past Donay. He's running down to first base, but an easy throw will retire the Gatemen as they trail 3-0. When we come back in the 4th, Jack will take you for the next few innings. We'll be back in just a moment on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Here we go back to now the top of the 4th inning, and for more on the guy on the mound, Aiden Major, here's our Aiden Blanc.
Hey guys, Aiden Major is on the mound tonight, making another start with the Gatemen, and one of the pitches that he is trying to work in this summer is the curveball. Now he's thrown a fastball, we've seen a slider, we've seen a change, but we haven't quite seen the curve. That's something that we see quite often on the Cape, with a lot of new pitchers coming in to work on their brand new pitches and maybe develop that for fall ball coming up next month. Guys?
Thank you, Aiden. Hope you're staying cool down there. It's a humid evening here at Spillane Field. 6 p.m. first pitch scheduled. It actually got underway a few minutes afterwards here on July 9th. Aiden Major looking to rebound after a tough 3rd inning for him. Got hit around a little bit, surrendered 4 hits. 3 runs came across the plate. Alex Lane, Elijah Hanline, and Brody Donay will be stepping to the plate for the Harbor Hawks, who are wearing the new orange jerseys. They debuted them yesterday versus the Brewster Whitecaps in the midst of a 3-game losing streak. Second-year manager Eric Beatty decided he needed something to spark his team. So a little bit before first pitch yesterday, they did the big reveal. The guys were buzzing, according to our good friend Jacob Irons, Hyannis broadcaster, and they ended up winning last night with them, 7-4 over the Whitecaps. So they're wearing them again tonight. And the first pitch to York, a chopper the middle. Gonzalez off balance to first. Wizardry from Dorian Gonzalez for the first out here in the 4th.
We've seen some good reflexes, from Gonzalez already today. That one highly impressive. You'll see there Hussey with a little bit of a splits to make the grab, but that's one that Gonzalez is going to be proud of.
Here's the righty Alex Lane. He's a little more alone from the Northeastern side now. His friend Mike Sirota from Northeastern was released a little bit ago. He went 1 for 2 yesterday, walked twice. Like I alluded to, a 7-4 win over the Brewster Whitecaps at McKeon Park. 0-1, a nice slider that backs up over the plate.
Oh, and Lane with 12 walks on the season and only 16 strikeouts. So a pretty good walk to strikeout ratio for him.
Saws him off, breaks his bat. A dribbler, third base side. Bozer, sidearm fling to first, a little late. And a perfectly placed accidental hit right there from Alex Lane. And all Aiden Major can do is smile.
And that one came in really close to Alex Lane's hands and kind of chipped off a part of the bat there, and it just died so quickly, and it's so hard to read a pitch and a ball coming off the bat like that, especially with little bits of wood flying everywhere. It was all that Bozer could do, and the fact that he made it close was a good effort.
Take this for TrackMan stats. That pitch was a 96-mile-an-hour fastball hit off the bat at just 24 miles an hour. First pitch to Taylor gets away from Hernandez. Lane will move up to second on the wild pitch. Glad you joined us here for Wareham Gatemen baseball in game 25 of the year for the Gatemen. This is a crucial game against the Harbor Hawks. The Harbor Hawks currently 1 point ahead of them. In third place right now with a Wareham loss tonight and a Falmouth win. They would be tied for last place with the Wareham win tonight in third place. And this one gets away from Hernandez. So Major yanks another one, and Lane, who had a about 15-foot single, advances 2 bases on 2 wild pitches.
Well, and Hernandez now going out to have a chat, as you would expect, with Major. Ryan Smythe also joining, it would appear, and this is something that Hernandez doesn't let a lot of pitches past him. He's very agile behind the plate, so there's something going on, whether there's some crossing up or pitches are slipping from Major. You just got to let him have a breather and try to regroup here.
Bryson Schaefer is the one slightly warming up in the Wareham bullpen. He is not actually on the mound yet. He's just kind of tossing around. So this visit for Smythe, maybe an opportunity to allow Bryson to keep going. Major through 3 1/3 innings pitched right now. The Gatemen in a 3-run deficit with Alex Lane, the potential 4th run just 90 feet away.
We've talked already multiple times tonight about how important it is for Major to be able to go 3+ innings.
Hainline sitting on a 2-0 count. Pitch to him. A fastball that rubs up on him inside. Aiden Major in his 3rd start of the season for the Wareham Gatemen. Hainline has the green light on the 3-0 pitch. Will foul it back. Elijah Hainline still looking for a new home. He is in the transfer portal after spending this last season and the season before at Washington State. And he's going to have to stay in the box for one more pitch as Major darts one on the inside corner. He's a Pac-12 honorable mention candidate. And now the payoff pitch to him. Popped up right side. Hussey going back in foul territory, and this is going to drop in between him and Nick McLean. Elijah Hainline, we mentioned honorable mention. That may be a little misleading because usually in other conferences you got first team, second team, sometimes even third team. For the Pac-12, there's just one team, and if you're not on that, then the next selection is honorable mention. Hit 12 homers this past year. The 3-2 pitch to him. Popped up on the infield. This one, Hussey will be able to grab. In foul territory, he's got it for a big second out.
Well, with a runner on third base as well, good for the Gatemen that ball didn't travel too far, either too far back or too far off to the side, not tempting Lane.
Now with 2 outs in the inning, Brody Donay up trying to flip that. Donay is also a guy that has played in all 3 matchups against the Wareham Gatemen, and he's fresh after not playing yesterday. And he takes a hearty swing and a miss. He is 2 for 10 in 3 games against Wareham this year, but his best game came the last time these teams met on the 25th. Line drive left side over the head of Bozer and into left field. Brody Donay swats one into the corner. He'll cruise into second standing up, And Hyannis gets a big run. It's 4-0 Harbor Hawks here in the fourth.
And those kind of line drives, so hard for Bozer over at third base to get a big enough leap to get up there. He came close, but you know, you can only be so tall, you can only jump so high.
91 off the bat. They don't call it the hot corner for no reason. Bobby's over there playing at third base for the 6th time this year. Naturally more of a shortstop and a center fielder. But the Gatemen need some production at the third base position. Here's Will Taylor, the center fielder. And he pops one up on the first pitch. Hernandez gives it a glance and watches it bang against the asphalt outside of the fence in foul territory here. These jerseys may be more comfortable for Will Taylor, the Clemson Tiger. He's wearing his orange Clemson cleats and that orange shin guard on the front leg. And it matches quite well with the kind of fluorescent orange that the Harbor Hawks have working here.
Yeah, you're not going to miss them wherever they are.
A 1 to him, popped out of play on the right side. So Major has been faced with a different problem than Gatemen pitchers have. The storyline coming in has been walks, walks, walks. And Aiden Major has not struggled with that at all. Every base runner he's given up has been via a hit.
Well, it's a testament to what we've been saying about pitchers having to not be afraid to throw in the zone.
And it goes to show it's not as easy as just throw the ball over the plate. You got to be able to get the ball in the strike zone and not put the ball in hitter sweet spots, because hitting is hard here on the Cape, no doubt about it, but these are some of the best hitters in the country.
It's all a two-way street.
Major yanks another slider, and the count runs even. Brody Donay is on second. A 2-out RBI double from him has the Harbor Hawks up 4-0. Hyannis scored 3 runs in the top of the third off of 4 hits. The 2-2 inside, it hits him. Taylor trying to shake it off as he backpedals and then now turns around and runs to first. But the inning will continue.
The reaction from Major, he could tell as soon as it left his hand and he came off the mound. Just slipped out.
Now to the bottom with Trey Lipsy. Lipsy, another guy that's played in all 3 games against Wareham this year. And he's a guy, too, that has arguably played his best game against Wareham here in game number 4. He already had a hit and already scored in the third. He was 1 for 9 against Wareham coming into today. Had great success with Kalamazoo in the Northwoods League last year, hitting .340. Looking to get hot here at Cape Cod, and he ropes one right side, down the line and fair. That's a good way to do it. Donay's going to score. Taylor right behind him. Lipsy's not stopping at second as the ball goes out of play on the right side. Let's see where the umpires place the bases here. They're going to send Lipsy back to second base. And they are going to send Will Taylor back to third, it appears.
Yeah, that ball rolling over into the Harbor Hawks bullpen where all their pitchers are sitting.
Damage may be limited, but it is done here as 1 run scores. Taylor moves to third, and I can definitively say now that Trey Lipsy has had his best game against the Gatemen here. 2 hits today, including a double, and the Hyannis bats staying hot after posting 7 against Brewster in a shortened 7-inning game. Back to the top, Nick Mitchell takes strike 1.
Both teams eager to get a win. We've talked about what this means for the standings, and both recently coming out of losing streaks. Anything to keep that momentum going and anything to keep wearing the bright orange jerseys.
A breaking ball. Major now ahead in the count, 1 ball and 2 strikes And this is a performance that the Gatemen would be more likely to have on the road. They've been rock solid at home, 9-3 at home, but 1-9-2 on the road. Struggling here. 1-2, popped up out of play. But it's not been as simple as just don't walk guys. They're last in walks, but also last in opponent batting average, and those two are intertwined a little bit, but teams are also making some solid contact. Hyannis doing so here. Sent to center. Stevenson ranging to his right, and he's got it. And that will be the conclusion of another big offensive frame for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Off of 3 hits, they come across twice and leave 2 stranded. No errors by the Gatemen. We now go to the bottom of the 4th. Hyannis breaking things open here from Spillane Field. Back to the Gatemen side of the 4th inning here on the Gatemen Baseball Network alongside Amanda Foster, our producers Rachel Manning and Braden Shank, our sideline reporter somewhere down there, Aiden Blanc. Jack Hunter here with you. Garen Caulfield set to lead things off against Zach Volker. Grant Hussey and Lawson Harrell to follow. Volker's been pretty darn good through 3 innings of work, only faced 1 batter above the minimum. That was a walk to Dorian Gonzalez last inning. Still has conceded 0 hits.
It's something that the Gatemen are going to be itching to change sooner rather than later. We don't want to let Hyannis run away with this one more than they have.
Caulfield takes a breaking ball outside. This is a really cool matchup here for Zach Volker and Garen Caulfield. They were high school teammates at Granite Bay High School. Then they followed each other to San Joaquin Delta College. They were freshman roommates together during the COVID pandemic. The 1-0 to Garen, a big swing and a miss. They played together their sophomore year before they each headed out their own way. But the funny part about it is, in those 2 seasons they spent at San Joaquin Delta College, neither of them played a game with the team because both seasons were canceled due to COVID. So it's been a very integral part of Garen's career. It was a bad thing for him in the present moment in 2020 and 2021. It's turned into kind of a source of motivation for him after he spent so long away from the game. And now him and his junior college teammate who shared that borderline traumatic experience together in the most premier collegiate summer league.
When we talk about a lot how the Cape can lend way to forming new relationships and meeting new people, but clearly it's also a place to rekindle some of those relationships that you've been able to form with guys in the past.
Garen pops one up. Donay turns around, flips the mask. He drops it, and he comes back and drops the ball. Oh, that ball had some spin on it, and Brody Donay could not hold on to it. It'll be an error on the catcher. So with Garen having an extra life here, let's see if he can get even with his former teammate. Garen popped out to the first baseman, York, his first time at the plate. Caulfield hitting a clean .350 on the year. He chops one to the shortstop Hainline. A long throw across the diamond is made for out number 1. So the Gatemen can't take advantage of the extra out they were given. And it moves along now to Grant Hussey.
From West Virginia.
Zach Volker has brought out the kitchen sink so far against the Gatemen. We've seen fastball, changeup, slider, curveball, and cutter. All after the Gatemen saw Smith Pinson yesterday, the front runner so far, as Hussey shoots that one out of play for the White House Award given at the end of the year to the best pitcher in the Cape League.
Well, you took the words right out of my mouth, Jack. That's 2 nights that the Gatemen have had to face pitchers that have a whole lot in their arsenal and can throw all of those pitches quite well.
A different challenge tonight with Volker. And Hussey spits that one foul on the right side. Pinson was a guy you'd rarely see him throw 85, 86. Volker's doing that with a few of his off-speed pitches. Volker's never had an ERA under 6 during the spring season. Has succeeded here with the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. They clearly have unlocked something in his game dating back to last summer. 0-2, Hussey shoots one right back to Hainline, who's been busy here in the bottom of the 4th.
Well, that's good, solid contact by Hussey, but right to Hainline, not much you can do about that one.
99 off the bat. Hussey nods his head as he goes back to the dugout with a little smirk on his face. And here's Lawson Harrell. He's wearing the right helmet tonight. He's got the Campbell helmet. He was wearing his rival and now teammate Grant Sherrod's USC Upstate helmet last night. And he takes a front door slider low for ball 1. The Gatemen still do not have a hit through 3 2/3 innings of play. Harrell, weak shot down to third. Smith's got it level with the bag. To first he goes. York scoops it out. In another 1, 2, 3 inning here, this time in the bottom of the 4th from Zach Volker, who's rolling. And as we roll along to the 5th, Hyannis has a 5-0 lead.
Cape Cod 5 is proud to be a long-standing supporter of the Cape Cod Baseball League and its contribution to the local economy as a treasured summer attraction. Cape Cod 5 is a community bank serving customers throughout Cape Cod, the islands, and southeastern Massachusetts. Founded in 1855, the bank's mission is to enrich the lives of those it serves while contributing to the health and vitality of its communities. Cape Cod 5 provides a full range of banking solutions, including personal and business banking, residential mortgages, investment management, and trust services.
The Gatemen are proud to partner with Franklin Sports as the official batting gloves of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves courtesy of Franklin. From the Cape League to the big leagues, it's all hands on deck.
Aiden Major's day is done after a few innings of work, 4 to be exact. He conceded 8 hits, 5 runs, did not walk a batter, struck out 4. So once again, Amanda, as we talked about, a little bit of a different issue to have. Major not having issues with the strike zone tonight, but Hyannis just tagged him hard.
Well, and I think if you're Ryan Smythe and the rest of the Gatemen and the coaching staff, not that giving up 5 runs is a positive, obviously, but the fact that there were no walks, that he was hitting the zone, he was able to go 4 innings. The majority of this outing from Major is a better sign than what we've seen from the rest of the Gatemen pitching staff as of late.
Here comes the UCLA Bruin, James Hepp. Hepp last appeared on Thursday night here at Spillane Field. Was the first guy out of the bullpen then, replacing Gavin Black. 2 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. It's a solid outing for Hepp. His defense did not really help him out very much, but the righty continuing to post good numbers out of the bullpen for the Gatemen. This will be his 4th appearance today. He's got a 1-1 record, has conceded 3 earned runs in 6 innings. And he's another guy that if he
continues to pitch well, the Gatemen can really rely on, too, because he's not a guy that pitched really any innings at UCLA this year, so not a guy that's going to be hampered at this time of the year. He needs to be on the mound. John Gazdar from Austin P stands in. And a first pitch breaking ball drops in.
Oh, you mentioned it. Pitching 2 2/3 innings in 3 appearances in 2023. So just like you said, you're exactly right. There's not a whole lot of limit that he has right now.
The long righty gets another foul ball on the right side and is worked ahead quickly to Gazdar.
That's another key we saw from Aiden Major in the beginning of the game, getting ahead quickly of these Harbor Hawks batters, trying to catch them maybe a little off guard before they can truly adjust.
Just off the outside corner. Gazdar is a great student, 4.0 GPA, ASUN all-academic team, and also a reliable baseball player, played in almost 60 games this year. That one hits off the pole to the cage where the visiting broadcast team goes. So they're nice and protected there. So no worries for our friends over there wearing the Hyannis blue. A nice breaking ball by Hep gets a swing, and in the process, Gazdar loses the elbow guard. One batter faced and one punch out.
That one coming in at 73 miles an hour.
So good start for James. And here steps a guy that has had a good start in Cam Smith. He singled in his last at-bat in the 3rd inning. Just finishing his freshman year at Florida State. The big 6'3" righty hitter. You can see why scouts, colleges would be all over this guy. He's big, hits for power. He's starting to put it together now, too. Led off the last game we played at Hyannis with a home run off of Mark Manfredi. Another spinner outside.
3 home runs to his name so far up here this summer. 5 doubles and 2 triples. The Harbor Hawks as a whole are very efficient in getting those extra base hits.
Fouled at the plate, and that's a big point of emphasis for Hyannis, too, is getting that extra base and getting to third. And there are some coaches that preach it more than others. Every coach has their points of emphasis, and that's one for Eric Beatty and Hyannis. One-two yanked outside, and for Smith, we've talked about all of his success. He's top 10, really top 5 in most offensive categories in the league. But after these two teams faced off for the second time here at Splain Field on June 20th, he was hitting 167. He's turned it around ever since, and he takes low and away for a full count. So in the last 14 games since then, he's hitting 352. 3 homers, 9 RBIs, and maybe the most impressive thing for a guy that struck out a ton this year, he struck out only 6 times, which is less than 10% of his plate appearances. Shoots it foul, and he'll live to see another pitch. For the 3-2 again, a breaking ball curved down the left side, and we'll do it once more. So Smith has worked a good at-bat off of James Hep, who's in his first inning of work. Aiden Major's day was done after 4 innings. The payoff pitch. Roped left side, base hit into left field.
We've got a bit of news. We mentioned the MLB draft earlier in the broadcast. Say we say we'd be keeping an eye on current and former Gatemen and some big news, but not altogether unexpected. Paul Skeens just chosen first overall by the Pirates, played for the Gatemen in 2021.
Here's Zach York. First pitch to him, a breaking ball that skips to the plate, and once again, Hernandez having a hard time pouncing on it. Smith will move to second. Zach York at the plate, very new to Hyannis. He's been one of the guys that they've had to bring in to replace a lot of the position players that have departed. The Grand Canyon Antelope is playing in his second game for the Harbor Hawks today. The 1-0 to him, an accidental swing, and now he's evened in the count. York listed at 275 pounds. Lifts that index finger up, ready to go, and takes a strike on the outer edge. He went 1 for 2 in a pinch hit spot in that Friday game versus the Kettleers. It was the third loss in a row for Hyannis. The 1-2 to him, and this one gets by Hernandez again. This one is going to be ruled as a pass ball, so a plethora of wild pitches to this point, the first pass ball we've seen.
A bit uncharacteristic of Hernandez, typically pretty solid behind the plate. He's also usually been the catcher for the Gatemen, who's been tasked with stopping a lot of these wild pitches and keeping balls in front of him. Almost, it seems like, kind of whenever he plays.
Well, the Gatemen infield by necessity here will need to come in. Down 5 runs, looking to keep it at that. And that's not going to matter about the infield as York puts a charge into one to right center field. Stevenson coming on, makes a nice catch, able to avoid McLean out there. The run is going to come in, but a great play by Josh Stevenson in center field to get the second out.
Stevenson's had a lot of balls hit to him so far tonight, some of them dropping in, some of them just coming in ways that he can't make the grab, but that one, good job ranging over and making it. Key moment, key play here in the inning.
That's his third putout of the evening. Here's Alex Lane, foul tipped into the mid for strike one. Lane's got a festive bat working with the orange handle and the blue bat. I first saw Ben Williamson do that for Hyannis, who's no longer with the team, hoping to get himself drafted tonight. But the tradition has carried on from one CAA teammate to another.
Good complementary colors, blue and orange.
Lane at 16 homers this past year for the Huskies, and he takes it outside. First team All-CAA at the designated hitter position. The 2-1 pitch, breaking ball misses low. Lane played for the North Adams Steeplecats of the NECBL last summer. In 27 games, hit .278. And he puts a charge into one, gets it a little bit off the end of the bat, so it's going to stay in the park. Harrell under it, he's got it. And that'll be the end to the first inning for James Hepp. He gives up 1 run on 1 hit, a passed ball, and nobody left. We now go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. It's Hyannis 6 and Wareham 0 here on the Gatemen Baseball Network. To the bottom of the 5th we go, and for more on the newest Missouri Tiger, here's Aiden Blanc.
Hey guys, a big news out of the Gatemen dugout today. Yadi Hernandez, tonight's starting catcher, has announced he's transferring from Seton Hall to Missouri. Now you might know there is another Missouri Tiger on the team, J.C. Cologne, not starting tonight, but has seen some time with the Gatemen this season, and both of them saw games last season with the Burlington Sock Puppets. J.C. said, we need a catcher, and Yadi happened to be available. He's excited to work with his old teammate once again. Guys?
Thank you, Aiden. And kind of a funny Cape connection to make that happen. Brewster Whitecaps catcher Dylan Leach, who played for Missouri, entered the transfer portal a little bit ago. He's going to former Gateman Zach Stewart's Missouri State Bears, opening up a roster spot, and Hernandez taking advantage of it. Will be headed to Columbia to play in the SEC next year. Speaking of the SEC, here's the Georgia Bulldog himself, Sebastian Murillo. He rolls over, left side, Smith snags it. Oh, Cameron Smith flashing the leather as he backpedals to the back of the infield for the first out. A star at the plate, making a fantastic play from third base, cutting that ball off, nabbing a crazy short hop. He's preserving a fantastic outing for Zach Volker. In a big swing and a miss. We are not the Hyannis broadcasters, so I feel like I am comfortable saying that Zach Volker has a no-hitter here in the bottom of the 5th.
I was thinking about that.
I'm a little stitious, so hoping that can turn things around.
There you go.
Takes a little off, conduces a swing from Josh Stevenson.
The team as a whole, maybe a little superstitious. I was talking to Gavin Black in the dugout. He had a 4-leaf clover in his phone case that he found a few days ago, and the day that he found it, the Gatemen won a game. But he didn't find one today, so who knows?
Another changeup outside. Volker doubling up on him. Zach Volker, the Iowa Hawkeye, in his 3rd start of the season, and he's made it the furthest. His longest start, 3 1/3 innings. Stevenson fouls that one back our way. He's here through 4 1/3. And gets a swing and a miss, a nice breaking ball, continuing to make quick work.
When coming in at 74 and Stevenson just not expecting it.
Third baseman, number 6, Bobby Moser.
Volker, a Cape League All-Star last summer. Also pitched well in the playoffs. Went 1-0 and 1 start over Katuitt on August 4th. And the first pitch to Bozer misses outside. Bozer was 1 for 3 yesterday. The Gatemen bats were a little slow to wake up, and by the time they did, Smith Pinson was out of the game.
Bozer, a guy who's big on patience at the plate, mentioned his walk total. And he likes to try to keep things as simple as they can be. Doesn't want to overthink anything, something he's been working on with the hitting coach Mike Mobbs this summer.
Breaking ball, Bozer sits back and shoots it foul out of play. You can tell the Hyannis defense is respecting the bat of Bozer. The infield playing completely back with their back heels at least up the middle on the outfield grass. All 3 outfielders playing pretty deep as well. Bozer stays alive as he rockets that one right side. So Zach Volker's got a lot of history with the Katuitt Kettleers, pitching against them twice in the regular season so far this year after pitching against them in the playoffs last year. looking to make some history against the Gatemen here tonight. A sweeping slider bleeds outside. Big night here in Wareham as former Gateman Paul Skeen selected first overall in the MLB draft. And Bozer continues to stay alive.
Well, right now, it's just about all you can ask for from the Gateman batters. Just keep fighting, stay in the box, try to make some contact and put a hit up on the board.
Volker's only faced one above the minimum. It was a walk in the third inning. 2-2 breaking ball, and Bozer fans through it for strike 3. Zach Volker continues to roll another 3 up, 3 down inning. We go to the 6th now with Hyannis still up 6-0. Elijah Hainline, Brody Dene, and Will Taylor will try to let the good times roll for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks as we go to the 6th here on the Gatemen Baseball Network alongside our sideline reporter Aiden Blanc and my broadcast partner here tonight, Amanda Foster, and our wonderful producers Rachel Manning and Braden Shank. Jack Hunter here with you. Hep's first pitch almost hits Hainline. Hainline 0 for 2, has not gotten in on the party yet. Hit into a double play in the 2nd, popped out in the 4th. James Hep in his 2nd inning of work after relieving Aiden Major to start the 5th. Sent to center, Stevenson now ranging to his left, staying busy, and makes the grab for the first out.
Well, and needless to say, a good start to the inning for Hep. A lot of pitching and baseball in general is just all about confidence and your mindset on the mound. Hep's going to want to come in and do what he can to face the minimum and get his team back up to the plate to try to get some runs up on the board, get some hits up on the board even.
First pitch to Dene. Another big swing and a miss. The Gateman bullpen is in better shape than it has been. A short start yesterday by Nolan Hughes, but the game was shortened due to fog. And then the day before, you got a decent start from Riley Eichhoff, 0-1, hammered foul left side. So less bullpen innings recently for Wareham after they had a 6-game stretch in which a starter did not get an out in the 4th inning.
A bit of a blessing in disguise, perhaps, that the game last night was called. Looked to be somewhat unwinnable for the Gatemen. Save some pitching.
Brody Donay just wrapping up his freshman year at Virginia Tech, hit 260, 12 homers in 39 games. And he reaches out, pokes it to right. McLean's got a beat on it for the second out.
Center fielder number 35, Will Taylor from Clemson.
Here's Will Taylor. Taylor's been active so far. Doubled and scored in the second. Got hit by a pitch and stranded on third after originally coming home. Had to be sent back after a ball got put out of play on Trey Lipsey's double. The Irmo, South Carolina native, takes ball one. We've mentioned this a few times throughout the season series, but Will Taylor, first athlete at Clemson to win ACC championships in football and baseball since 1988.
Doesn't get much better than that.
Was the primary left fielder for Clemson this year, an on-base machine. Hep just misses the outside corner. Taylor, foul territory, left side. Hep only pitched 3 times for the Bruins this past year, so a very small sample size. Only 1 earned run allowed. He's got a big frame, 6'7", 240 pounds. Last pitched at the summer circuit in 2021 in the West Coast League. And the inning stays alive as Taylor works another walk, and the on-base machine for the Tigers continuing that trend here for Hyannis tonight.
All throughout the order for Hyannis, there's been production. We touched on it, just how hot their bats are, how hot they can be. Obviously, Nick Mitchell with the triple in the 3rd inning, but then you've got Will Taylor with the double, Trey Lipsey with a single and a double. Everybody's getting it done tonight for the Harbor Hawks.
Hyannis hoping they can turn the momentum from yesterday into something today and bigger things from here. They have really just been, and I mean this in the nicest way, just kind of the definition of even keel and average this year. They've not really had any bad streaks. That 3-game losing streak was the longest losing streak of the year. And then on the flip side, they've not had any big winning streaks, as a line drive almost decapitates the first base coach over there for the Harbor Hawks. Quick reflexes.
Did a nice little drop down and spin roll over move.
So to continue that thought, they are 11-11-1 on the year. 500 on the dot. They are in the middle of the West right now, in 3rd place. They're not too bad on the road. They're 5-7, 2 games under 500. That's perfectly reasonable. They're 2 games over 500 at home. A very balanced ball club. Runner goes. Taylor's going to have to come back to first.
Well, balance, a hard thing to find, especially in a summer league when you have guys coming in and out so frequently.
That they've experienced. Lipsey gets set, 1-2. A spinner that Hep can't crank down enough on.
Yeah, it's not quite enough drop in that one.
A big offensive showing from the Harbor Hawks today. 9 hits, looking for their first one here in the 6th with 2 outs. Runner goes, Lipsey left side, coming in is Harrell. He's got a long way to go, and he grabs it just as he enters foul territory. A nice inning here from James Hepp in the top of the 6th. 3 flyouts sandwiched with a 2-out walk, 1 stranded. We go to the bottom of the 6th. It is 6-0 Hyannis. As we've mentioned a few times here on the broadcast tonight, Paul Skeens, former Wareham Gatemen, selected first overall by the Pittsburgh Pirates. And to tell you more, here's Aiden.
Serving southeastern Massachusetts and Rhode Island. Office technology has been the area's source for advanced.
Well, Aiden, I'm sure that information you were given was great, but unfortunately some technical difficulties hampered our ability to get that across here on the broadcast. I feel like it was kind of bound to happen after a 2-for-2 showing on the technical side so far.
Hey, I'm one who's witnessed some of those technical difficulties on my end as well. You just kind of got to roll with it.
So for Hyannis, unfortunately the no-hitter will not live further because Zach Volker has been removed from the game after 5 no-hit innings, gave up 0 runs, only walked 1 batter. And welcome to the joys of summer ball as well. We've got a pitcher on the mound that is wearing number 20. The only problem is there is no 20 on the Hyannis roster.
Well, it's a mystery to all of us right now. And it could be we could still be in for a combined no-hitter, theoretically, if this mystery pitcher comes out and continues what Volker was doing.
So once we have an idea of who this is, we'll let you know. But mysterious number 20 on the mound for Hyannis right now. We repeat, there is no 20 on the Hyannis roster. But as we understand, jerseys break all the time. Guys lose jerseys.
Yadi Hernandez just had his sewn up today.
So the Gatemen get to see a new arm here, some new life in the bottom of the 6th. And the first pitch is a 94-mile-an-hour fastball in there for strike 1. It's 8-9-1 for the Gatemen in the bottom of the 6th. Zach Volker's day is done after 5 no-hit innings. And his unnamed replacement has pumped home 2 strikes here in the 6th.
We'll talk to Hernandez, who's been struggling a bit at the plate. 273 average, but not quite doing what he wants. Just wants to keep it really simple and not think too much. I talked the same thing about Bobby Bozer's mindset at the plate, and that's the case for a lot of these guys out here, is to just try not to get too in their heads, because nothing good comes of that.
Well, it doesn't help that a lot of Hyannis pitchers throw hard and have good sliders. So I can tell you this is not Jamie Arnold.
We'll go through all the numbers of who it's not.
I can tell you it is not Kate Obermuller. Receiving word now from the Hyannis crew that is J.B. Middleton, who just arrived here. Chopper third base side. Camp Smith scoops it up, slings it across to first, and now the identified pitcher, J.B. Middleton, has his first out for the Harbor Hawks.
See, the issue is on the roster, J.B. Middleton is number 34. So, you know, I saw that they recently picked him up. They activated him July 7th, and I made a note. It was like, oh, one of the new guys, number 34, not number 20.
The Southern Miss Golden Eagle was not used very much, only pitched 8 times for a really good ball club this year in the Sun Belt. Delivers high to Dorian Gonzalez. It's his first summer ball experience. Pitch to Dorian on the outside corner. Throws a fastball a lot of the time, about 70% of the time, in the mid to high 90s. Goes with the slider there and pushes Dorian off the plate. Dorian is at his more natural position at second base tonight. He takes a big swing and a miss. Usually Garen Caulfield occupies that spot, but with Garen DHing tonight, after playing multiple games at second base, Dorian gets to play on the other side of the bag. And he cuts and misses. 2 batters face, 2 outs for Middleton.
Well, once again, the Gatemen, I don't want to say necessarily looking lost at the plate, but there's something that has not been able to click for them today or even yesterday for that matter, whether it's in terms of being able to read the pitchers that they're facing and figuring out what pitches they want to hit, or just not being able to really see what's coming out of the pitcher's hands.
Well, Eric Beatty has found something out about this Gateman roster because Hyannis' pitching has succeeded in all 3 previous matchups. McLean serves that one left center field, slicing towards the left fielder, Nick Mitchell, who grabs it for the 3rd out. So another 1-2-3 inning for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks here in the 6th, who are currently no-hitting the Gatemen as we head to the 7th. It is 6-0 Harbor Hawks.
Tom and Gene Yawkey were passionate about baseball. Over 7 decades as owners of the Boston Red Sox, the Yawkeys greatly invested in youth and amateur athletics. They recognize the important skills baseball can bring to players both on and off the field. The Yawkey Foundation has been proud to support the Cape Cod Baseball League for more than 25 years.
As a proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League, the Mass State Lottery is celebrating the games we love playing. From the baseball diamond to the many lottery games that help support all 351 cities and towns across the Commonwealth. So here's to 100 years of Cape Cod baseball and 100 more. Well, Bryson Schaefer now on the mound for the Gatemen. Final line on James have 2 innings pitched, 1 hit, 1 run, 0 earned runs, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. As the Harbor Hawks have a 6-0 lead, Jack, as you just mentioned, the Gatemen still being no hit and being run through pretty quickly in the bottom of the innings, whereas the Harbor Hawks have been able to extend their stays at the plate. As of late, Bryson Schaefer coming in with a 5.55 ERA on the season up here with the Gatemen and 11.1 innings pitched, 16 strikeouts, 6 walks, 1 save in 4 games. He last pitched July 5th against Bourne. He went 3 innings, gave up 2 runs and 3 hits, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts.
And Schaefer's somebody that I don't think his ERA really accurately tells the story of how he's pitched this year, because a lot of those runs that were tagged to him came in a game versus the Yadi Red Sox, I believe, where he pitched 3 really solid innings. Oh, Falmouth, similar colors. Thanks for the heads up there.
Similar scores too. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and he got through 3 innings. He was pitching really well, and then the 4th inning just kind of imploded on him. And so similar thing with Bourne, this time kind of the opposite way, where he gave up a home run the first batter he faced and then really solidified it down. So he's been a guy that's been able to give the Gatemen some good innings this summer.
Well, that's exactly what they need. We've been saying it all day. You just need good outings from your pitcher. One of the bigger things today is that the Gatemen offense has not been able to crack things open.
And they just haven't really been able to sequence things together. The offense has been playing really well at times, and then the pitching's not been there, and then the pitching's there. The offense is not, and sometimes they're both not there, and then occasionally both of them are there.
Well, Nick Mitchell, to lead things off for the Harbor Hawks, takes first pitch in low for ball 1. Yeah, that's the hard thing about baseball, because you have to have everything come together at a consistent rate, and in summer ball, when you're playing day after day after day, it makes it tough. Schaefer, the lefty, comes in for ball 2 out of Coastal Carolina. Had a 6.27 ERA in the college season, 25 appearances. He fires off 3 straight balls to Mitchell so far. Had 31 walks to 54 strikeouts in his collegiate season. Mitchell shows bunt, but the pitch comes in for ball 4, so he'll head down to first base, and the Harbor Hawks just keep getting on base however they can.
And it's been mostly by the hit tonight. 9 hits so far as we enter the top of the 7th, and after being held hitless in the first inning, they've had hits in the middle 4 innings, 1, 4, 3, and 1 hit.
John Gazdar takes first pitch on the inside for a strike. Struck out twice. Had an RBI put out in the 3rd inning. Gazdar had 2 brothers who both played college baseball. His brother Christian at Chapman University. He skies one out. Ranging back is Murillo. Coming in on it is Harrell. And Harrell will make the grab for the first out of the inning. Mitchell will remain at first base.
Third baseman, number 13, Cameron Smith from Florida State.
That'll bring up Cam Smith.
Bryson Schaefer, a guy that has a very unique delivery to the plate, hides the ball very well, comes across his body. I got a chance to talk to him about it a few weeks ago, and he said that's something he's been doing since he was about 12 years old, working with a pitching coach. It's not anything new to him.
First pitch fouled back from Smith. And yeah, he really just turns his entire back is facing home plate. You get a really good view of his number. If you're behind home plate, don't have to worry about figuring out who he is.
A broadcaster's dream.
There you go. That and just good jersey colors, because if the numbers blend into the jersey, it makes it tough. Pick back. Hussey going off Mitchell. Now Murillo's got it. They've got him in a rundown. And he gets in. Going to be called safe. The tag from Schaefer. Not quite in time.
It's been one of those nights for the Gatemen. Schaefer has got the best pickoff move on this team, and we talked about it in his most recent outing, how his delivery kind of naturally sets him up to have a nasty pickoff move because he's already kind of heading over to first anyway, and then he'll catch a sleep in. But that's just basic defense. You gotta be able to cut a runner out when you get him picked off.
On the 0-1, line down into left field. Harrell chasing after it. It'll go back to the wall. Mitchell coming around, being waved home, coming in, throw comes in. Picked up Bozer to Hernandez, and not in time as Mitchell comes across on the RBI double from Cam Smith and extending the Harbor Hawks lead to 7 runs to nothing here in the top of the 7th.
Cam Smith continues to stay hot. There is a reason he is one of only 2 players in the league with double-digit extra base hits. He doesn't miss pitches over the middle of the plate, and just another bad defensive play from the Gatemen. They cut Mitchell out at the plate right there. If Harrell can hit the cutoff man, Murillo, both of them have to be better in getting the ball relayed to home plate.
Zach York now standing in.
And it's hard, too, because Murillo doesn't really know the outfielder's arms, especially Harrell, very well. So he doesn't know how far out he needs to go. He doesn't know how far back he needs to go. So he got airmailed there, and then in turn, Bozer couldn't get him.
York lines that one off the fence of the Hyannis dugout over there. Even up the count at 1-1. And that's one of the things with summer ball. You got to be able to adjust to the teammates around you quickly because people are coming in and out, and something that obviously can add some difficulties.
Well, Amanda, I'm a little selfishly happy for you that you'll get to see Nick Mitchell in an Indiana Hoosiers uniform. I mean, that guy can fly around the bases.
I'm excited now. I was ready. I was coming in. I wanted to see what he could do in person. He could stop doing it a little bit tonight. I'm not gonna lie.
We've seen it. We've seen it already. Now we don't need to see. We don't need to see it for the rest of the season.
There you go.
Just pick it back up when you get to Bloomington.
Yeah. Hitters count to York now. Runner on second in Cam Smith. And he lines one into right field. It's going to get through the gap. Picked up by McLean. Smith rounding third, going into home, and the throw is offline to Yadi Hernandez to put another run up on the board for the Harbor Hawks on that one. RBI single for Zach York.
It's a great piece of hitting by York, and if York can be a big bat in the middle of the lineup for Hyannis, we've talked about all the bats they've gone through, Sirota, Amick, Williamson, 3 guys that would be all-stars in this league if they stuck around. If York can now replace them and be a good middle-of-the-bat lineup piece, that would be big for Hyannis, hitting the ball hard twice in his last 2 at-bats.
Alex Lane takes the first pitch low.
And it makes you want to appreciate this guy at the plate, Alex Lane, a little bit more. Other guys, we talk about all the guys who have left. Talking about guys who have stayed, Alex Lane has been one of them.
A consistent hitter at that. Even count now, 1-1. Lane coming in, hitting .227 with 10 hits. And that one will plunk him on his outer leg as it gets away from Schaefer. So the second walk of the inning for the Harbor Hawks, first being Nick Mitchell, who has since come around to score. Lane at first, York at second. Heinlein now getting ready to step into the plate. He's not been able to record a hit. And Yadi Hernandez will go out and have a chat with his pitcher beforehand. You've got to imagine Heinlein looking to do some damage right now.
And some bad news for Gatemen fans. Falmouth up 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th over the YD Red Sox. With a Falmouth win today and a Gatemen loss, both of those teams are tied in last place. And I feel like we're at the point in the year, game 25 of 44, where, you know, with less than 20 games remaining, these are the things that you need to start looking at, especially if you're a team that's kind of bubbling on we're making the playoffs or not. You got to start doing a little bit of scoreboard watching.
Season, you have the feeling that it's going to end a lot quicker than it started. A big hack from Heinlein.
When you can lose a lot of ground in very little time, too. So, you know, we've seen teams that have just rocketed up or down the standings.
Line down the right field line, drifting over. McLean chasing after it. He lets it drop. To make the count 0-2. There's 1 out, 2 runners on. York at second. York at 275. Not sure how much speed he has in him necessarily relative to some of the other guys on this Hyannis team, but regardless, a scoring threat. There's a chopper. It'll get through the gap. And York staying at third base. So the bases will be juiced for the big man in Brody Donay coming up now. Still just 1 out for Bryson Schaefer and the Gatemen here in the top of the 7th.
I hate to say this, but this inning feels eerily similar to the 7th inning that the Gatemen experienced last night. It was the last inning at Yarmouth Dennis, but unfortunately here the field has lights and there is no fog in the area. So the Gatemen are going to have to just work their way out of this. There's no, you know, we didn't play well in the 7th. Let's go. They got to finish this game.
A big hack from Donay, like we've seen all day from him for strike 1. Had an RBI double back in the 4th inning. Struck out and flied out in his other 2 plate appearances. He watches that one come in. All 3 runners, with decent leads off of their respective bases. And another big cut and a miss for strike 2.
So the Gatemen, as we talked, we talked about how they've been hit. They've been really playing a not ideal game, but how can they respond?
And a liner over to Bozer, picks it up. Fires to Gonzalez, over to Hussey. The throw will bring Hussey off the bag, but it'll retire the middleman. And Elijah Heinlein. So put 2 outs up on the board now with that throw from Bozer over to Gonzalez. Takes a little bit of the pressure off, but that does bring in another run.
And that's a good start. You got to get out to try to get out of this. And the reason you need to turn it around is not only, A, are you trying to win this game? I mean, that's the first objective, but also this league is contagious. You lose one, you can easily slip it into more.
High and outside, or high and inside to Will Taylor.
You know, if this team were to just kind of give up and you know, wave their white flag now, that's going to bleed into tomorrow.
The 1-0 on the inner part of the plate to even up the count at 1-1. And this team all season long has embraced kind of the grit that they feel being, regardless if they're playing on stone dust and it's a little gritty in itself. There's a big kind of miss for strike 2, or the fact that they're playing off the Cape and that has a bit of a reputation, or just the personalities on the team, and it's something that they kind of need to rediscover in themselves right now. So Taylor with the 1-2. Skies one back into the bleachers to stay alive. Taylor with a double, hit by pitch, and a walk in his 3 plate appearances tonight. And he lines one little bloop pop up to Sebastian Merlo. He'll make the easy grab in the infield for out number 3. But the Harbor Hawks pad their lead a little bit more with 3 more runs. We've got a 9-0 lead now heading in to the bottom of the 7th, and it's getting into crunch time for the Gatemen. We'll see what they can do when we come back.
Ticket number 7.
Back in the bottom of the 7th inning, Gatemen looking to get some hits on the board, and they'll have to figure out a way to do it with a new pitcher on the mound for the Harbor Hawks in Cross Sivley. Out of Southern Miss, he comes in with a 1.5 ERA, 3 games played, 6 innings pitched, 6 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Last pitch, July 3rd against Orleans, went 3 innings, allowed 3 hits, but no earned runs, and 5 strikeouts against the Firebirds.
Well, we've seen a lot of lefties come out of the Hyannis bullpen who kind of look like clones of each other. Jamie Arnold, Cade Obermueller, and hopefully for the Gatemen, Cross Sivley is not one of those guys. Just kind of a sidewinding lefty with that 3/4 slot that just kind of throws frisbee sliders and turbo sinkers at you and hope you can try to hit one of them.
Yeah, and if you're the Gatemen, you don't want to rely on just hoping that you can get some contact going. Still being no hit, and we keep saying that now because, like you said earlier, Jack, we are not the Hyannis broadcasters. Sivley will face Caulfield, Hussey, and Harrell here in the bottom of the 7th. Anybody just trying to get something going. And Caulfield with a 6-game hit streak on the line.
Designated hitter number 20, Garen Caulfield.
And Garen's mindset this year is a mindset that the Gatemen need to employ as a team here. Just don't try to do too much. It's going to take one batter at a time, one pitch at a time for this team to get back in this game. I said this yesterday, you can't have a 6-run swing. Here you can't have a 9-run swing. You just got to keep working.
First pitch from Sivley outside for ball 1. Not sure I want to imagine what baseball would be like if you could have a 6 or a 9-run swing. Get some high-scoring games. Sibley, big kick, fires in near Caulfield's feet. Put the count at 2-0. Caulfield flied out to first base and had a 6-3 put out in his 2 at-bats so far tonight. Watches the third ball come in. So he can be a bit more choosy at the plate now. Remains to be seen whether or not he'll get the green light. There's a bat boy, I think just past the netting. The umpire motioning for him to get back so he doesn't get hit with a foul ball. The 3-0 comes in for strike 1. Still a hitter's count for Caulfield. Caulfield, one of the quieter guys on the team, not super outspoken, but his bat in the past has spoken for itself. And a big looping pitch coming in at 72 miles an hour for a full count now to the first batter of the inning for the Gatemen. And it comes in outside for ball 4, so Caulfield will take first base.
Attention please, ladies and gentlemen. Pitching for Hyannis, number 36, Cross Sibley from the University of Southern Mississippi.
And a good start to the bottom of the 7th here for the Gatemen, and they're in a solid spot in their lineup where if guys can see the pitches and whether it's watch them go past as balls or make contact as strikes, potential to get something going quickly. Hussey stepping in with a strikeout looking and a line out so far tonight. Takes first pitch low and outside. Fouled back left side to even up the count at 1-1. One of the new arrivals for the Gatemen, Grant Sherrod, on deck now in the spot of Lawson Harrell. And a big swing and a miss from Hussey. So a 1-2 count now to the 3-hole batter.
The same thing it just was. Whole skates.
And he skies one, and it'll drop in the gap in left center. Caulfield racing around into third base. He'll be stopped. Hussey sliding in head first for a double, and he'll get in safely. And we've got a hit on the board for the Gatemen.
And who else but the doubles machine, Grant Hussey, to do it. The league lead in doubles. That's his 8th double of the year. And it's a great swing by him. And I don't know if that's maybe a swing we get from him in the early part of the year, but like I talked about earlier, he's been working with Mike Mobbs really early in the season by about one pitch selection, swinging at good pitches, because it doesn't matter how good your swing is. If you swing at bad pitches, you're not going to be able to hit well. And for Hussey also being more level to the bat plane as well, not swinging under the ball. And right there, just if you try to swing under that ball, you would have either missed or popped that one up because it's obviously not very far down in the zone. It's kind of still in the strike zone.
Grant Sherrod now stepping in for his first appearance in a game as a Gateman. Standing at 6'3". Takes first pitch in for a strike. Out of South Carolina upstate, as we've talked about a bit before with Lawson Harrell, and now he's in Harrell's spot in the lineup as a pinch hitter, and a broken bat. Skies out to left center, running on, charging, and making the grab is Nick Mitchell. Garen Caulfield will come in and cross the plate. So mark that down as an RBI sac fly for Sheridan, his first plate appearance, and the Gatemen have a run on the board.
Didn't waste any time, and he was so close to sending that one into the power alley. Just didn't really get it on the right piece of the bat because his bat shattered, but it was a loud swing, and the ball still was able to carry a little shallow to left center field, even despite the fact that his bat was in a few pieces.
Testament to the power he holds in that bat. Now Sebastian Murillo steps in. Takes first pitch for a strike. Murillo, like just about every other Gateman batter, looking to make some contact. Hussey now sitting at second base in scoring position. And the slow chopper rolling over, picked up by Cam Smith, and Murillo will reach safely as Smith doesn't charge in time. Hussey stays at second, but Murillo gets on first, and there are 2 runners on for the Gatemen.
Well, Wareham got dinked and dunked to death yesterday at Yarmouth Dennis, so what comes around, what goes around has to come around eventually, and it's not awful here that the Gatemen are getting a few soft contact hits.
Or you're going to take whatever sort of reaching base situation you can get, especially at this point in the game. Stevenson now stepping in, 2 runners on for the outfielder, heading to Ohio State next year. Got his first home run against Brewster on July 8th. That was a 3-run home run. He was in a bit of a slump before. A called strike to even up the count at 1-1. He's trying to kind of rediscover himself, who he is as a ball player, part of the reason behind his transfer to Ohio State, but then also one of the good things about being out here on the Cape, he said, is just getting to play baseball again. He didn't have a whole lot of opportunities at LSU. A big cut and a miss for strike 2.
Cross Sibley's a guy, unlike his teammate that pitched before him at school and here this summer, J.B. Middleton, that had a huge role this year. He's really the first guy out of the pen for Southern Miss. Had a 3.7 ERA and over 58 innings of work.
Glance back to Hussey. And the 1-2 cut and a miss. For strike number 3 to Stevenson, he'll be retired on a swinging strikeout for the second out of the inning.
Shortstop number
Bobby Bozer now getting ready to step in.
from South Florida.
And Hainline, playing shortstop for the Harbor Hawks, had previously been a bit shaded to the left of second base from our vantage point. Now he's back in his normal spot on the grass. And there's a chopper down the third base line, picked up by Smith. He steps on the bag to get the force out and retire the Gatemen. Put up 1 run on the board, courtesy of Grant Sherrod, with a sac fly. We'll head into the 8th inning. The Gatemen looking to keep the Harbor Hawks from putting up any more runs on the board on their end. We'll be right back on the Gatemen Baseball Network. A new pitcher on the mound for the Gatemen once again as we head into the top of the 8th. And Jack, it's Tyler Dean. You've got a name for him. I don't know if you want to use it, but
it's the Terminator. Tyler Dean coming out on the mound, strictly business. He pitched an inning and a third. Only gave up 1 run, 0 walks, and 3 strikeouts in his last outing. And maybe what was Wareham's best win of the year on Friday versus the Brewster Whitecaps. He looked good, ended up finishing the game for Wareham, a non-save situation, but looking to build off of that momentum. Now the 4th pitcher of the night for the Gatemen.
And the Gatemen need somebody with that sort of mentality, and you could call him the Terminator. If that's who he is, that's exactly what they need. They need to keep the Harbor Hawks from getting any more momentum and runs on the board as they try to make a comeback down 9-1. Trey Lipsy will be the first guy stepping into the box.
Trey Lipsy from Ohio State.
A single and a double to his name. RBI double at that in the 4th inning. Dean coming in with a 5.40 ERA, 5 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts. Righty readies and fires, and it's fouled back just to our left for strike 1.
Now pitching for the Gatemen, number 37, Tyler Dean from the University of South Carolina, Columbia.
Dean shaking off a few pitches from Hernandez. The 0-1 comes in high to even up the count at 1-1. Lipsy fouls that one back to the left side, likely bouncing off the school building that's just off to our left, judging by the way that the ball lifted up off the bat. So a 1-2 count now for the Harbor Hawks right fielder. And a cut and a miss. Strike number 3, first strikeout of the night for Tyler Dean. Gets the job done, sends Lipsy back to the dugout.
He sent Lipsy packing with a nice curveball there, coming in at 78 on the gun. Had some nice downward spin on it. And Tyler Dean wasting no time to pick up his first strikeout.
That'll bring up Nick Mitchell, top of the order for the Harbor Hawks. Takes first pitch in for strike 1. Mitchell been on base twice so far tonight. Very successful night, as we've talked about already. In 2023, he was the All-Summit League first team. Had a 30-game on-base streak at one point, and in that span, 11 multi-hit games as he takes that pitch in for ball 2.
I love the Western Illinois mascot, the Leathernecks.
I don't know where they come up with some of these names. I'm sure there's an extensive history behind it, but I personally do not know. And the 2-1. Just a bit low, 3-1 now hitters count to Mitchell. That pitch coming in at 93 miles an hour from Dean. And high and tight. That'll send Mitchell walking all the way down to first base. That's his second walk of the night. Mitchell, that is. First of Dean's outing.
Second baseman, number 14, Jonathan Gazdar from Austin Peay State.
Gazdar now coming up to the plate. 2 strikeouts, a fly out, and RBI, ground out. First pitch in, high and tight, up near his face for ball 1. And a slow chopper rolling down the third baseline. Bows are going to let it roll foul. We'll send everybody back. Mitchell had already reached second base, but a smart move by Bozer to let that one play out the way it did.
That was a good job by Bobby, like you said, to recognize the spin on it and to really be patient, because he's running a risk they're not picking it up, because by letting it sit, you know, John Gazdar is going to be at first base if that ball ends up being fair.
So we'll do it again, a 1-1 count now. And high and outside to make it 2-1. So Nick Mitchell standing on first base for the Harbor Hawks. They're up 9-1 here in the top of the 8th inning. Gatemen looking to shut it down any way they can. Called strike 2 to even things up. Coming in at 79 miles an hour. Gazdar, a double machine in the 2023 season. These guys went out, ranging over as Nick McLean over in right field makes the grab for out number 2.
So for all those at home curious as to what a leatherneck is,
yes,
a leatherneck is the official nickname, the Fighting Leatherneck's official nickname for the U.S. Marine Corps. It's a military reference, and so Western Illinois is the only non-military institution to officially have its nickname derived from a branch of the military service.
Do we know why it was derived from?
Well, there was a athletic director by the name of Ray Rock Hansen, who was granted permission by the U.S. Navy because he was a Marine hero himself.
Okay, there we go. We've got a pinch hitter in for Cam Smith in Eric Snow. Number 3, standing at 5'9" for the Harbor Hawks out of USF, so a teammate of Bobby Bozer. He chops one foul just over near the Gatemen dugout for strike 2. 1-2 count to Snow, coming in batting .250 for the Harbor Hawks. He's been with the team since the beginning of the season. We've talked a lot about the turnover. He fouls one back. 56 at bats, 14 hits, 9 RBIs, 6 walks, and 13 strikeouts.
And congratulations to Wareham Gatemen infielder Tommy Troy on just being selected 12th overall by the Arizona Diamondbacks.
Keeping a close eye on the draft now as all the excitement gets underway tonight and will continue in the next few days. Of course, Paul Skeens drafted 1st overall to almost nobody's surprise. The liner, Murillo picks it up, fires over to Gonzalez over at second base for the 3rd out. Sneaky smooth play from Murillo gets the Gatemen out of the top of the 8th without allowing a run. They'll try to take advantage of that as they head into the bottom of the inning. We'll be right back on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Well, we've been talking about the draft up here a lot. We're going to send it down in just a moment to Aiden Blanc on the sideline to talk more about Paul Skeens.
Fans, our next home game is this Tuesday, July 11th. Join us here.
Became the next Gateman to be the number 1 overall draft pick in the 2023 MLB draft. He was picked by the Pittsburgh Pirates, number 1 overall, but believe it or not the last Gateman to do that. In 2016 Wareham Gateman, Casey Mize, got selected out of Auburn. He was number 1, and now Paul Skeens is number 1. A couple guys that were here, and then 2 years later made it to the biggest stage in baseball. Congratulations to both of them. First of hopefully many Cape League picks and Gateman picks over the next few days. Guys?
Well, thank you, Aiden. Some nice history for the Gatemen. Having some very successful guys come through. You could also point to guys like Kyle Schwarber, not the number 1 pick, but still representing Wareham on the biggest stage. First batter due up for the Gatemen here in the bottom of the 8th, Yadi Hernandez. It'll be Gonzalez, and we'll rotate to the top of the order with McLean.
Attention, please. Defensive changes for the Harbor Hawks. Eric Snow staying in the game at 3rd base.
And Eric Snow, who came in to pinch hit for Cam Smith, will now take up his spot at 3rd base. A slight defensive change for the Harbor Hawks. Something somewhat worth noting, Hernandez just committing to Mizzou wearing some yellow batting gloves, not the color of Seton Hall.
Yeah.
So maybe he's borrowing his teammate J.C. Cologne's to kind of get in the mindset.
I told him he needed to get some new catcher's gear.
Yeah, no more blue. First pitch, big hack from Hernandez. Mentioned a bit earlier, he's trying to find himself a bit at the plate, like a lot of these guys are. Trying to keep it simple, not get in his head too much. He's a very big mindset guy. And he lines one. Easy little bloop over to the second baseman. John Gazdar will make the grab for the first out. And Hernandez retired once again tonight. It's his third out.
Yeah, it's kind of hard for guys like Hernandez and really any of the catchers to get into a rhythm. They're not playing every night because catching is a very demanding position.
The first pitch skied out by Gonzalez is going to drop in right field. Rounding first, heading into second. Here comes the throw. And the tag not in time. And Gonzalez picks up a double to try to get things going for the Gatemen.
It's a great swing by Dorian Gonzalez. He hit it hard, 291 off the bat. Took an off-speed pitch, stayed on it. And a good swing from Dorian, and that's great to see for a guy that's been out of the lineup for a little bit now to get back in and contribute out of that 9-hole. He's reached base twice today.
You never know who's going to pull through when you need him most. Here's Nick McLean. Takes first pitch high for a ball. And now the good thing with that is Gonzalez in the 9 holes on base, and you've got some of the hottest hitters for the Gatemen coming in to the game today. McLean with 6 multi-hit games so far this season, has not had a hit so far tonight. Lines one back, foul for strike 2. McLean looks to be talking to himself a little bit, trying to adjust before he gets in the box. And the 1-2 fouled off his bat, but caught by Donay behind the plate, so that'll be a strikeout for the second out of the inning. And now Garen Caulfield, who's reached base on a walk. It's the only time he's reached base. He came around to score, to put up the first run and the only run for the Gatemen so far tonight. But we are officially in crunch time in the bottom of the 8th. He lines one out to right field. Coming in on it is Lipsy, right under for the easy grab for out number 3. So the Gatemen leave a runner stranded on second after a double from Dorian Gonzalez, but can't bring him in. Still trail 9-1, heading into the top of the 9th. Curry College is where you go to become anything you want. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers with learning beyond the classroom. Explore our offerings, including new programs in brain and cognitive science, business analytics, coaching, forensic investigations, marketing, and transformative justice. Check us out online at curry.edu.
T-Mobile is proud to sponsor the Cape Cod Baseball League. T-Mobile believes that when small towns thrive, America thrives. That's why they're investing billions to bring fast, reliable, and affordable wireless service beyond the big cities to small towns across America. There's never been a better time to join T-Mobile. Visit T-Mobile.com/acrossamerica to find out more.
Well, Jack, it's not the score that the Gatemen want, and not that Gatemen fans want either, 9-1 here, but we're getting treated to something special that I don't think any of us expected. We've got J.C. Cologne coming in to pitch out of Mizzou. We've talked about him and Yadi Hernandez behind the plate, transferring to Mizzou, possibly wearing J.C.'s batting gloves today. J.C. not a pitcher, worth noting. He's played at third base, typically a shortstop at Mizzou, but we might get a chance to see how the two teammates connect in a very unique way here in the 9th inning.
Well, JC pitched in high school, and I saw him a few weeks ago throwing a bullpen, and I did a double take out. I was like, JC, what are you doing? And he was like, well, I'm not for the summer, but
when I go back to Mizzou in the fall, I want to be ready to pitch. And I had a conversation kind of out of the blue with one of the assistant coaches yesterday about the same thing. Like, JC's throwing another bullpen. He's looking good. And they're like, yeah, we're trying to get him right for the fall. And then I was like, but what about the right situation?
Right.
Maybe we'll put him in.
Yeah.
And here you go. The next day, JC Cologne in here on the mound. He said he told me he touched 95 in high school one time.
Okay.
He said he's not been able to get back there yet because he hasn't pitched in a while, but he's a guy that's got a big arm. You can see it from the infield position, and we'll see what he's got. He's kind of looking a little Edwin Diaz to me on the mound right now with the high leg kick and the swing.
He's a tall dude standing at 6'2". And, I mean, you got some pitching experience, so it's not quite like you're putting in just a regular position player to pitch here.
He's not going to be coming in and lobbing the ball.
You can see all of his stats on the board, zeros across the board in his first outing for the game, and maybe not the last. We'll see. He'll face, at minimum, Zach York, Alex Lane, and Elijah Hainline here to kick things off.
First baseman, number 40, Zach York.
York
Grand Canyon.
coming around to score one of Hyannis' 9 runs so far tonight, back in the 7th inning. So JC Cologne, about to make his first pitch of his Cape League pitching debut, comes in low for ball number 1. Skied up, left side of the infield. Ranging back is Morello, looking up, calling for it. Makes the grab for out number 1. So quick 2 pitches for JC Cologne, and he retires a batter.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, so I'm going to try to say this the best I can. If he can throw strikes and get outs, JC's been a guy that struggled a little bit at the plate and in the field, but maybe his role on this team, if he can throw strikes.
You put him wherever he can do best. If he can get going on the pitching mound, why not? Alex Lane stands in. The same swagger that JC has in the box is carried over to the mound. First pitch comes in for a called strike.
Going to the slider there. There we go.
Coming in around 79 miles an hour, according to TrackMan. Fouled back for strike number 2, and that had some speed on it, 92 miles an hour.
I mean, he's got a college-level fastball. Good velocity, good spin on it.
So the 0-2 to Lane. Inside for ball 1. Swing and a miss, strike 3, got him. First strikeout of JC Cologne's Cape Cod Baseball League pitching career. And he knocks down Alex Lane for out number 2.
Well, the Diaz comparison is humming true now. I mean, that was a filthy slider. Not much that Alex Lane could do about it, and this has been a great outing so far for JC Cologne. Very happy to see it for him.
Absolutely. Elijah Hainline stepping in now. Bounces in front of the plate for ball 1. Hainline in his last plate appearance with a single. The pitch comes in high to make it 2-0. Coming in at 92 once again. This is, if you don't know the Gatemen very well, if you don't know JC Cologne very well, might be something surprising, but as we know and we've said, why not? 2-0 on the outside edge for ball 3. So Hainline in a comfortable spot right now. Harbor Hawks also in a comfortable spot. And in for a called strike. Hainline didn't think so, as it was on the inner part of the plate, but he'll have to turn around just a step and head back into the batter's box. Still a hitter's count. And a chopper ranging over is Murillo. Gloves it, and then it slips through his leg, and then he slips. And then Hainline slips, running around first base, but he'll get back in safely. with a single.
So the first hit allowed from J.C. Cologne here is a broken bat single. Our analytics guru, Jake Fetterman, has alerted me that J.C. Cologne pitched to one batter this year from Missouri. He threw 5 pitches, gave up a hit, and then was taken out of the game.
There we go. So he's got some experience.
First career outs here at the collegiate level.
Man. First pitch in to Donay, high and tight for a ball.
How about buzzing him off the plate there with little 90 chin music?
You gotta keep them on their toes. They can't be thinking any position players coming in and not doing something important. Donay skies one back into the right side bleachers. Now in an 0-2 count.
This got to be a cool moment for JC. I mean, there's nothing like toe in the rubber, getting out on the mound. You're the most powerful person on the field. You're dictating things.
And thrown to a close friend in Yadi Hernandez as well. And it comes in and plunks Donay in the lower back. So Donay will head down to first base, advancing Hainline to second. Will Taylor now coming up to the plate.
Yeah, he's been releasing that slider a little bit earlier. That one a little bit even earlier. He's got to really rip down on that thing, try to play it off of his fastball.
2 outs on the inning for the game, and the first 2 batters J.C. Cologne faced were retired on a flyout and a strikeout. Now he's got 2 runners on to think about. And that one's skied out straight away into center field. Charging in on it is Stevenson, and he makes the grab with his hat falling off, and that's out number 3 of the inning. So how about J.C. Cologne coming in, not allowing a run? 1 hit by pitch. And maybe it'll spark something for the Gatemen heading into the bottom of the 9th. One final chance for the Gatemen to get some runs up on the board. 8 runs up on the board. They've got a new pitcher they'll have to face while doing it in Eli Trop for the Harbor Hawks out of Penn. He'll first take on Grant Hussey. Trop with Penn, 17 relief appearances, 2.37 ERA with a 4 record and 1 save. Hussey takes first pitch outside for a ball. So a very tall task here for the Gatemen to put up at least 8 runs in the bottom of the 9th with the way that the Harbor Hawks pitching has been operating. Very difficult. Hussey takes his third straight ball. Trying to get something going. Reached base on a double in his last at bat in the 7th. Takes that one in for strike 1.
This is kind of cool that Trop and the Penn Quakers played against Southern Miss, and Trop actually pitched against them in their regional. The last 2 pitchers for Hyannis have been on that Southern Miss team.
And the 3-1 comes in outside, and Grant Hussey will trot down to first base with a walk.
Left fielder number 4, Grant Sherrod.
That'll bring up Grant Sherrod, who had his first plate appearance for the Gatemen in a pinch hit role for Harrell. Flied out to left field and brought in the only Gateman run so far of the night. Sherrod batted .335 at USC Upstate. .625 slugging percentage. And a big cut and a miss for strike 1. And he takes that one for strike 2. Not too pleased about it. Wondering where it was. It was on the outer edge of the plate. But Trop with a bit of the advantage with a 1-2 count now. No outs. Grant Hussey standing at first base for the Gatemen here in the bottom of the 9th. And a half swing, fouled back. Looked to be sort of near his hands. Staying alive with a 1-2 count. Sherrod standing at 6'3". You can see the U on his helmet. That's the helmet we mentioned Lawson Harrell was wearing in the game yesterday. Pretty neat that they've had the chance to meet up with each other once again, seeing each other in the college season. So Trop had to take a quick break to tie his shoe. Don't want to be tumbling off the mound. Readies for the 1-2 pitch. In and a chopper over to third base. Picked up by Smith, over to second, over to first, and it falls out of York's glove. And Hussey didn't even make it to second base, so he'll head back to the dugout. But Sherrod will reach base for the first time in his CCBL career. Now up steps Sebastian Murillo. Last reached with a single. Takes first pitch in for a strike.
And for this Hyannis team, if they can just get their starter to get them 5 innings like they did tonight, I mean, this bullpen can take them anywhere they want to go.
Pitching seems to be the name of the game, and Trop stumbles and falls off the mound. The ball rolls out of his hand and all the way over near the Harbor Hawks dugout. We'll wait to see exactly what that's ruled. Trop having a bit of a conversation with our home plate umpire.
Our official scorer, Chris Vogel, needs to go yell down at the home plate umpire right now and figure out what's going on. No pitch.
No
there
pitch.
We go.
All right. A balk, and now Hussey's on, or Sherrod, pardon me, is on second base.
It's our trusty, dusty official score to the right of us. Oh, illegal pitch.
Now we're going to have a conversion of the 3 umpires. I'll confess I'm not entirely sure what they would be discussing here. Perhaps whether or not to call it an official pitch or not.
Well, according to our friend Chris here to the right, a balk and an illegal pitch, different calls, but they act in the same regard in that it would still be an 0-1 count but it'd still advance the runner.
Well, figures in a game like this will have a little bit more oddness to finish it out.
Yeah, but just a weird play off the mound, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
you
took
never
a
see
bit of a
that.
stumble. And he just tied his shoe, too. You'd think you would be all set.
Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was kind of like bracing.
He tied it too tight, and then
Oh.
his foot. There we go. That's just my guess, but yeah, sometimes you do tie your shoes too tight, and then your feet feel weird. You got to readjust. So who knows? A bit of a lengthy conversation.
Robert McHugh, Sam Finn, Anthony Letizio, the umpires. Maybe they're talking about post-game plans if they've gotten any while they're trying to make this call, because they've been conferring for a long time now. I mean, they must have something cool planned.
It's a Sunday night. I'm not sure what they could do, but you never know.
Well, I mean, they did just figure out that El Mariachi closes at 10.
And now Ryan Smythe had to have a bit of a conversation. But it's all resolved now, and the count will be 1-1. So there we go. It will be a pitch. And our producer, Braden Shank, very pleased with himself on that one. He called it as a pitch pretty much from the get-go. So Sebastian Murillo now with a 1-1 count. Sherrod on second advances to third as that gets past the catcher. Got a new catcher in behind the plate for the Harbor Hawks, and Aaron Parker as well out of UC Santa Barbara.
The Gauchos.
The Gauchos. Donay hit in the back in his last at-bat. Likely precautionary, but why not? Sebastian Murillo skies one high up, drifting over is Parker. He can't see it. Nobody can see it. That's a good thing because it went foul. Way past, maybe hit the building over to our left. I sure couldn't see it because we're in a booth.
I can see a pack of kids over there waiting for autograph night here at Spillane Field, so we got to make sure we get over there to, because the kids are going to want ours first,
yeah.
right?
We're the big names here. They're going to want J.C. Cologne's autograph is who they should get. So a 2-2 count to Murillo. Takes that one in for called strike 3, and he'll walk away slowly. The second out of the inning. And that'll leave it up to Josh Stevenson. A fly out and 2 strikeouts to his name tonight. Made a host of good plays out in center field to put some outs up on the board. Skies that one back just to our left behind the box. And typically, Jack, it seems like as of late at least, the story for the Gatemen has been focused around the pitching. Today it seems to be focused more around the offense. So there's a big cut and a miss for strike 2.
Yeah, well, it's kind of one of those things where the batting's not a problem until it is, and so pitching has been the problem, and today the pitching staff has really not been there, but the offense hasn't scored any runs, so that's kind of what we're focusing on because it's a deviation.
Pitch outside for ball 1. Something that the Gatemen will have to rectify quickly as we're now in the second half of the season, as you mentioned earlier tonight. You can't let games slip away from you much longer if you have postseason aspirations, which they do. And a cut and a miss for strike 3. Stevenson retired, and that will close the game. The Harbor Hawks walk away from Spillane Field with a 9-1 victory. The win will go to Volker, Harbor Hawks starting pitcher. The loss to Aiden Major. Harbor Hawks move to 12-11-1. The Gatemen move to 10-13-2 with a loss at home.
Yeah, and that was a tough showing for the Gatemen tonight. There's not really too many positives to take away from it. To clarify from my earlier point, it came out as a bunch of word salad, is the hitting has not been something that's really been a problem, because when it has, usually the pitching has overshadowed it. So usually, the bats are slow, but the pitching staff walks. The bats were slow yesterday, but the pitching staff walked so many guys that it just was not the case. But today, that was still true in that the pitching did not pitch very well, but the Hyannis pitching staff themselves was so impressive. The story of the game for 7 innings was the Gatemen don't have a hit.
Right.
And so, it's not a pleasant conversation that we're having about, which looks worse, the offense or the pitching staff. But it's just something the Gatemen have to – they got to get their mojo back. You talked about it a little earlier. The team was playing with a lot of energy, a lot of swagger, and it just seems kind of like recently, they've kind of lost some of that edge. Now, some of these losses have taken it out of them, but they need to refine that energy again.
On a tough conversation we're having right now, a tough conversation the team is having on the field, you would assume, and will have coming into the game tomorrow. They'll take on Chatham at Chatham. But that'll do it for tonight from Spillane Field. For our producers, Braden Schenk and Rachel Manning, sideline reporter Aiden Blanc, the WCTV crew setting up all the cameras behind us, and my broadcast partner, Jack Hunter, I've been Amanda Foster. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.